All right, can you start?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
We
sir.
have 1 more minute. Give me a
Yes,
minute
sir.
to start. There's 1 more minute left. We'll just wait for a minute and then we'll start. All right, can we start?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Right.
Yes, sir.
Okay. If a few more people can switch on your videos, that will be great. Unless, of course, they are using it for watching web series. Okay. At least the first 2 screens should look full. It looks good then. Okay, great. I can see quite a lot of you switching on your viewers. Hi, Rian. Good
Hi,
to see you. Great. Can we start?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so we stopped till few conditions which are required to be satisfied for the purpose of claiming input tax credit. Okay, and the condition where we had stopped, I believe, is tax paying document. Okay, correct? Okay. No, bill to ship to also we had done. We said who are the 3 partners in crime? Those 3 partners were there. We said why send the material here to there, will directly be get shipped to there. So that also we had covered. Okay. Now the next condition which is required to be satisfied is that the supplier from whom I have received the goods. Okay, yesterday you were the guys who were claiming the credit. So if you are buying the goods from me, okay, and you are required to claim the credit, then you have to ensure that I have paid the tax. Now, how will you ensure that I have paid the tax? That can never happen at all. Okay, but that's what law requires. Law requires you to prove that the taxes have been paid. So now, how will you prove that I have paid the tax? Very simple. That is a new mechanism which has come in the GST portal, where if you punch in my GST number, you will be able to see whether I have filed the GSTR1 and GSTR3B or not. Now, if my invoice is appearing in your GSTR2B and I have filed my GSTR1 and GSTR3B, then it indirectly means that I have discharged my tax. Okay, not directly, but indirectly means I have discharged the tax. Okay, so that is how I can check whether my supplier has paid the taxes or not. Okay, then next is you want to claim the credit. If you want to claim the credit, how will you claim the credit? You will have to file your returns, right? If you don't file your returns, how can you claim the credit? So another condition which is required to be satisfied is that the recipient has, the person who wants to claim the credit, who's called the recipient, has filed the returns. Okay. Next, very important condition. Okay. By the way, yesterday we were discussing that Dell creditor agent schedule 1 question has never been asked. I was just going through November 22 paper, read question number 2. Exactly the same question has come, except the person name and value is different. Otherwise, same question has come. That means 2 ways of looking at it. Last exam only they've asked, so in your exam they will not ask. Okay. But Pradyumna's point is only 1 point in the full class I understood properly. That also they will not ask. My God, what to do? Right. Okay. Right. Okay, we'll move ahead. So I was just going through that paper and I was surprised that they've asked that kind of a complex question, quite a complex question. It was only because of your faculty that you were able to understand such a difficult topic. Correct? No. Right. But otherwise, it's quite a complex topic. Right. Okay. Next, another condition which is required to be satisfied is that I should have made the payment to the vendor within 180 days. Okay. Now that's a big issue. Okay. See, I'll tell, assuming I have agreed with my vendor that I will make the payment after 1 year. How can government tell me that I should make the payment within 180 days? But that's what the law is. If I want to claim the credit, I should ensure that I have made the payment to the vendor within 180 days. And that 180 days starts from the date when I have received the invoice, meaning the date of the invoice. Okay. So let's take an example. Okay. 1st April 2023, I receive an invoice. Okay. I have claimed the credit on 1st May 2023. 180 days starts from which date? 1st April or 1st May?
1st April.
1st April. It is not related to the date when I have claimed the credit. It is related to the date to which the invoice relates to. Okay, so that 180 is calculated from the date of invoice, not from the date when I have availed the credit. Okay, so that is one point we have to remember. Now, what will happen is, assuming I have received the invoice on 1st April 2023, I have availed that credit, but I have not paid the vendor within 180 days. Okay, 180 days from 1st April 2023. Hypothetically, assume it comes on 27th of March 2023 because it is not 6 months, it is 180 days. Okay, so hypothetically, assume that it comes on 27 September 2023. So on that day, I have to reverse that credit. Okay, I will have to reverse that credit. That means I will have to undo the credit which I have claimed. Okay, now whenever I make the payment, I will be able to re-avail that credit. Okay, so assuming I have made the payment in December 2023, then in December 2023, I can re-avail the credit. Okay, there are a lot of aspects which we have to remember when we are talking about this 180 days credit. Okay, point number 1, assuming I have made part payment to that invoice. Invoice is 1,18,000 rupees, but I made 59,000 rupees payment. Then 59,000 I don't have to reverse. The balance 59,000 which I have not paid, I have to reverse. So that means if a partial invoice is paid, I am not required to reverse the credit. It does not mean that I have not paid the invoice at all. To the extent invoice is unpaid, I am not entitled to take the credit beyond 180 days. Whenever I make the payment, I will be entitled to take the credit. Next, another condition which you will see is that the credit should be claimed within 30th September of the next year. Correct? By end of 6 months, you have to take the credit. That is the next condition. We have still not discussed, but relevant from 180 days criteria. Okay. So let's visualize the situation that on 1st April 2023, I got an invoice. I claimed the credit. I did not make the payment on 27 September 2023. Okay. I made the payment on 10th of October 2024. 10th of October 2024, that is next year, after 6 months from the end of the financial year. Can I claim the credit? The condition says I cannot avail the credit beyond September 24. For any invoice of 23-24, correct, no, Anjana? For any invoice of 23-24, the last date for claiming credit is what? September 24, correct? But whenever I made the payment, October 24, can I claim the credit? That restriction is applicable only for availment of credit. What am I doing here? Re-availing the credit. For re-availment, the time limit is not applicable. Tension? No? You want me to repeat again? I will repeat, okay? Please be very careful here. 1st April 2023, I got the invoice. I never claimed the credit. I forgot to account it. What is the last date of claiming that credit?
September.
30th September 24. Correct, no? I got an invoice on 31st March 24. What is the last date for claiming the credit?
Same.
September.
Correct, no? With little confidence you give a wrong answer. No, don't worry. Even if it is wrong, with confidence you give. Right? So even for 31st March 24, the last date is 30th September 24 only. That means if this is the financial year, okay, if this is the financial year and this is the date, whatever date in the financial year, the last date for claiming credit remains fixed. Correct? Whether it is 1st April 23, 1st October 23 or 31st March 24, the last date for availing the credit of any invoice relating to 23-24 will be 30th September 24 only. Agreed? Okay. Now, I have received another invoice on 1st April 23. I duly accounted also and I have availed the credit also. But I did not make the payment within 180 days. One of the conditions is I should make the payment to the vendor within 180 days. I did not make the payment. So on 27th of September 23, what does law expect me to do? to reverse the credit. Okay, and when can I reavail the credit? Only when I make the payment. Whenever I made the payment, October 24, I have made the payment, which is beyond the statutory limit within which I can claim the credit. So on October 24, when I make the payment, can I claim the credit?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, because the last date for claiming credit is for first time availment, not for second time availment. For reavailment, that condition is not applicable. First marriage, you should not have kids. In second marriage, before second marriage, you can have kids. Correct? No. First marriage, before first marriage, only kids are there, means there is a problem. Right? So first marriage, conditions applicable. Second marriage, no conditions applicable. If you have also okay, you don't have also okay. Correct? No. Right? So first credit availment, 30th September is the due date. Subsequent re-availment, no conditions applicable. Clear? So what is the exception of 180 days criteria? Re-availment of credit. Okay, that is one. Sorry, what is the exception of 30th September criteria? Re-availment. I'm sorry. Right? Okay. Bhavna mein beh gaye. Okay, right. Now, next. No Bhavna, no in the class? As of now, in the screen, I cannot see. Okay, next. Now, Schedule 1. Yesterday only we discussed. Okay, some years back we had discussed in detail. Yesterday, in brief, we had discussed. Schedule 1 refers to those transactions where there is no consideration. Right? I'm doing a stock transfer. I'm sending goods to my agent. I'm giving goods to my related party. There is no consideration only. GST says it is deemed supply. So pay tax. Okay, I will pay tax. But can the branch make payment to me? I am in Bangalore. My office is in Chennai. Okay, I shifted the goods. So I will pay GST on that. You asked me to pay GST, I will pay GST. Chennai branch will take credit also. Now, how will Chennai branch make payment to me? Can Chennai branch make payment to me? Imagine if there is only one bank account. How will they draw check? Hanish to Hanish. Which account number? The debit account number is same, the credit account number also is same. Can they make the payment? Can you deduct TDS on your own payment in income tax and say I paid advance tax? Not possible, right? So here also, there is no consideration. Law is saying you have to pay GST. Law is not saying you have to pay money, no. Law is saying you give free, do whatever you want. You pay my GST. But they cannot force me to pay money to the branch. So any transaction under Schedule 1, you are not required to make the payment within 180 days. Because it is impossible. Correct? No. Next, Section 15 can add or subtract some values. Section 15 is valuation. So under Section 15, you might have to uplift or you might have to downlift the value. Downlift in case of discounts, uplift in case you have incurred certain expenses. Okay. There could be a reason why hypothetically you have to add something, which is not required to be paid also. But hypothetically you're adding. Example, okay. I have an old laptop, okay, and I want to take a new laptop. So where do I go? Sangeeta without space mobile. Okay, Sangeeta mobiles I am going. Why am I going for Sangeeta mobiles for laptop? They are giving me good discount. I know the owner, Sangeeta, very well. Okay, so now I go there to give my old laptop and get my new laptop. All right. So now what the Sangeeta mobile owner will do? He will say your old laptop is 20,000 rupees. The new laptop is 1 lakh rupees. Right. So on 1 lakh, he will raise the invoice. Correct. But I will pay only 80,000. Can now the government say, you have paid only 80,000. So on 20,000, I will not give you credit. Valuation rule says you have to discharge tax on 1 lakh. Correct. Consideration whether monetary or non-monetary, you have to pay tax on 1 lakh. But I will pay him only 80,000 because in kind I've already paid 20,000. Now law cannot say on 20,000 also you pay him. Correct. So when there is an uplift or a downlift in Section 15 because of Section 15, that is also artificial valuation. That amount of value is not required to be paid for this 180 days criteria. As long as I can prove that 80,000 has been paid, it means that the account has got settled. Correct? So credit is available. So that is the second exception. What was the first exception? Schedule 1. What is the second exception? Any increase or decrease because of section 15. Okay. Third exception. See, they said you should make the payment within 180 days from the date of raising of invoice. Correct? If I'm claiming credit on bill of entry, there is no time limit of 180 days. See, the government also is not bothered because I have only paid customs duty on bill of entry. I myself have paid. Somebody else is not paying. Correct? So bill of entry, the time limit is not applicable. Plus, if I have paid taxes under RCM, government has already got money from me. So now they are not bothered whether I make payment to the vendor or not. So there also 180 days criteria is not applicable. So what are the 4 exceptions for 180 days criteria? Schedule 1, section 15, bill of entry, RCM. Clear everyone? In all these cases, payment within 180 days is not mandatory. Also, if I make a partial payment, to the extent payment made, I will be entitled to claim the credit. Correct? No? Okay. Time limit, September of next year. All right. If you don't write the exam, this date will change. Okay. So then we will discuss this after 9:30 because it is out of syllabus. Correct? No? For your exam, the date is September of next year. If you change your attempt, the date will also change. Clear? Okay. 1 second. Okay. Sorry. Next. Very important condition. Why they bought it, I don't know. That is why it is so important. In case of capital goods, assuming you have purchased laptop, okay, worth 1 lakh, and on that you have paid 18,000 rupees GST. If you want to claim the credit of GST, you should not have capitalized that 18,000 rupees. 1 lakh you capitalize, but 18,000 you should not capitalize. You will not believe whenever we go to department officer, he will say, prove me that you have not capitalized the GST portion on fixed asset. I'll have to tell him, sir, in accounts, we have a double entry system. Okay, if I capitalize 18,000, no, it will not appear in the input tax. If it does not appear in input tax, I cannot utilize that credit. No. There is a condition in section 16 which you have to satisfy. Prove me how you can satisfy this. Sir, in double entry system, I cannot capitalize and I cannot claim input tax credit. That is not possible on me. How will I pass the entry? Hey, Adela Gotilla, you please prove. Okay, so this condition is there. So in examination also, you have to remember this condition that in case of capital goods, you should not claim depreciation on the GST portion. You can claim depreciation on 1 lakh rupees, but you cannot claim depreciation on 18,000 rupees. That cannot happen. If we are following the accounting procedure which Shetty sir is teaching us, we cannot claim depreciation and claim input credit. Correct? No, in single entry also it is not possible. Right? Okay. Now that is as far as the conditions under section 16 are there. Okay. Now when it comes to time limit, September, we discussed there is one exception. What is that exception?
Reval.
So second exception to this September is, again, the time limit is applicable only for invoices. For bill of entry, they have forgotten. So for bill of entry, 180 days criteria is also not applicable. That September condition is also not applicable because it says for any invoice, the credit can be taken maximum by 6 months from the end of the financial year. Okay. Now let's take example. Yesterday we missed discussing debit note. Okay, section 34. Okay, let's discuss about debit note before we go to the subsequent topics. Okay. Now I had to raise the invoice on whom? On Mehik. Okay, I had to raise the invoice on Mehik for 1 lakh rupees. Okay, I raised the invoice of 90,000 rupees by mistake because I was looking at the old rates. So I raised only 90,000 rupees. Okay, but the revised rates were 1 lakh rupees. When I was doing reconciliation, I had to raise another 10,000 rupees, but the invoice has been raised. Okay, and I already paid the tax. She has also claimed the credit. Now, when I realized that I have short charged her by 10,000 rupees, I have to increase the value of that invoice. Right? So what I will do, I will raise a debit note. That means I'm informing her that in my books, I'm debiting your account. Okay, so I will raise a debit note. On the 10,000 also I have to pay GST, right? Mehak can claim credit of that, right? What is the last date within which Mehak can claim the credit? Let's take two situations, okay? I raised the invoice on 1st March 23, or sorry, 1st February 23, okay? And raised the debit note on 31st March 23. Because the debit note is raised on 31st March 23, the last date for claiming credit is 30th September 23. Agreed? 30th September 23. Because from the financial year to which the debit note pertains to, I get 6 months time. Okay. Now, assuming I have raised the invoice on 1st February 23, but I realized my mistake on 1st April 23. So I raised the debit note on her on 1st April 2023. What is the last date for claiming credit?
30th
30th
September.
September 24.
September
24.
24. Now it goes to the next year, because every invoice will have a separate life, every debit note will have a separate life. Is this clear to everyone? See, I will have to pay interest because I have delayed payment of tax. February I had to pay, I am paying in April. I am raising the debit note in April, so I will pay interest on that. That is not the question, but the point is that she will be able to get additional time to account that debit note and claim the credit on the debit note. Clear, everyone?
Yes, sir.
Sana, you are able to follow her?
Yes, sir.
No tension, no? Okay, very nice. Okay. Now we move to section 17. Apurva, all okay here? Food is good?
Yes, sir.
Okay, very nice. Right. So now from section 16, we now move to section 17. What did section 16 say? Whatever you want for the purpose of business, I will give you credit. What did chapter 1 say? Seamless flow of credit. Whatever you want to buy, you buy, I will give you credit. Section 17 says, notwithstanding whatever I told you, you will not get credit on the following. Correct, no? Right. So there's a notification on my phone which says, buy everything at ₹1. Look, wow, amazing. Forget clients. We have to check that notification. Check that notification. Buy this at ₹1, provided you shop for minimum 500 rupees. Okay, right? So no use. Meg, you have something to ask.
Yes, sir. Sir, when you are discussing exceptions to 180 days, so you told 4 exceptions. Schedule 1, bill of entry, and section 15. The other one was
Reverse judgment.
RCM.
RCM. Excellent. Okay.
RCM. Correct? Okay. So easily you forgot. 2 minutes back we discussed. And when is the exam?
May.
You'll remember?
Yes, sir.
Okay, very nice. Now let's move to section 17, which says I will not give you credit. Okay. Section 17 says that you will get credit of anything which is used for the purpose of business. If anything is used other than for the purpose of business, I will not give you credit. Remember our example here. If I am a dealer in t-shirts and I have purchased 1 lakh t-shirts, suddenly I have to go to Palace Ground for a wedding. Okay, and I don't have a good t-shirt. I take 1 t-shirt from the shop and wear it. It is for other than business. Correct? I will not get the credit. But if I use the t-shirt and put it on a mannequin, then it is business promotion. Credit is allowed. You are able to follow. If it is for the purpose of business, you will get the credit. If it is not for the purpose of business, like drawings, you will not get it. Now you know how to claim the credit. You will say, I did not wear it. I put it on mannequin. So now the size has changed. So I have thrown it. Basically, you will change the narration in Tally and claim the credit. That's all. Correct? No? For that, government also has 17(5)(h). Lost, stolen, destroyed, disposed of. In 17(1) you will get, 17(5)(h) you have to reverse. That's all. And 17(5)(h) you cannot forget. Why? 17 is blocked credit. 17(5) is blocked credit. H is your GST teacher, HANISH. So you cannot forget the clause. Clear? Okay. Sorry? Yes, you cannot forget. Right? Okay. So 17(1) says, to business, you will get the credit. Other than business, you will not get the credit, which means anything, drawings, something taken home, okay, is for other than business, you will not get credit of the same, right? Okay. Next, if it is used for taxable purpose, once you have to decide, first you decide whether it's for business or not for business. Okay. Now, whatever is for business, again, that also you break it into for taxable purposes, exempt purposes. Taxable, full credit. Exempt, no credit. Because GST is a value added tax. When you add value to the government in the form of tax, you will get input credit. When you do not add value in the form of tax, then you are an end customer. End customer bears the tax. Correct? No? So let's take few examples. Okay. I am a school. SCHOOL. Don't tell that you had some audio issue and you heard something else. That is you, not me. I am a school. Pradhamna, you heard it right now. You are a school. School. Very good. Okay, right. So I am a school who has purchased a projector, okay, for the purpose of display of certain animation videos or educational videos, okay, in the school, in any of the maths class or science class, okay, right? Now, whatever service I give to the students is exempt from tax.
Yes.
All right. So when I buy the projector and I pay GST on that, I will not get any credit. Okay. But assuming I am CAPS, who is conducting a physical class in Banshankari BDA complex, okay, and I buy a projector where whenever a teacher comes, they will display their PPTs using the projector. Okay. Now their CAPS is charging you fees and collecting GST and remitting to the government. Can CAPS claim credit of on the projector? Yes, because they're using it for taxable purposes, right? So a coaching center will be able to claim the credit, but an educational institution will not be able to claim the credit because educational institution is using it for exempt purposes. Coaching center is using it for taxable purposes. So if you're using something for taxable purposes, full credit. If you're not using it for taxable purposes, no credit. But there could be some expenses which are used for both taxable and exempt purposes. Let's take an example. Have you seen Banshankari, our school? Not your school. The school
Yes,
name is
sir.
our school.
Yes,
What you have seen, right? Okay, right. So in the our school, right, there are 3 floors where there is education going on by the school. Okay, there are LKG, UKG, first standard, second standard, everything. 4th standard, they have given it on rent to CAPS. Okay, assuming the our school premises has been taken by the owner on rent. Okay, the entire premise has been taken on rent, and assuming there is only a single building and the rent being paid by the owner is 1 lakh rupees. Now we are talking about the landowner, our school owner, whose returns we are filing. Okay, so now look at this. He's using 3 floors for exempt purposes, 1 floor for taxable purposes, and assuming he's getting only single invoice. Okay, now how will you bifurcate how much is for taxable, how much is for exempt? There, Rule 42 comes into picture. We are in section 17.2. 17.2 says whatever is taxable, you will get full credit. Whatever is exempt, you will not get credit. But whatever is for taxable and exempt, go to Rule 42. Rule 42 says whatever is for taxable and exempt will be called common credit. Common credit multiplied by exempt turnover, that is school turnover, divided by total turnover, that is exempt plus the rent which is collected from CAPS. That much portion of credit you will not get. That much amount of credit you will not get. Only the balance amount you will get the input tax credit. You are able to follow?
Could you
I
repeat?
will repeat again. Let's change the example a little. Okay, we'll take another example. Okay, so now assuming there is a hospital which has got 2 wings. You know, all the birds have 2 wings, but we are talking about hospital which has wing A and wing B. Okay, there is wing A, wing B. Very bad joke. Okay, so wing A and wing B. Wing A is for cancer patients. Okay, wing A is for Sonali Bendre, Lisa Ray, cancer patients. Wing B is for Rakhi Sawant, okay, Jennifer Lopez, Shakira, cosmetic surgery. Correct? No? Rihan is very interested in this example. Okay, he will do Control F and search in Google what happened before and after pictures. Okay, so now wing A is cancer, wing B is cosmetic. Clear, everyone? Whatever is built in wing A exempt from tax. Whatever is built in wing B is taxable. Correct? Now assuming for wing A they have purchased some medicines. Okay, can hospital claim input credit of those medicines? No, because the output is exempt. Okay, now hospital has purchased some medicines, equipments, ECG equipment, some what you say, stretcher, etc. for wing B. Can they claim the credit?
Yes.
Full credit available. Okay, now hospital purchased an ambulance van. Can they claim the credit? It is not covered under blocked credit. Correct? Assuming the 13-seater capacity and all, we can somehow overcome. Let's, for example, okay, it is 15-seater, assuming ambulance. Ambulance credit is available for some other reason, but as of now, we'll not get into too much of technicalities. Assuming on ambulance, you are able to claim the credit. Okay, that ambulance is used to transport wing A customers also, that is patients, and wing B customers or patients also. Okay, that means it is commonly used for taxable and exempt purposes. So in my accounting, what I will do, all the purchases of wing A, no credit. All the purchase of wing B, full credit. Whatever is expense of wing A and wing B both, Harshita, how I'll claim the credit is that common credit multiplied by turnover of wing A divided by turnover of wing A and B. That percentage I will not get the credit. That turnover I will not get the credit. So assuming my cancer treatment was 1 crore, my cosmetic surgery treatment was 2 crores. Okay, that means it will be 1 crore divided by 3 crores. 1/3 credit I will not get. 2/3 credit I will get. Is this clear?
Yes.
Sorry?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Right? So first we will have to bifurcate the credit into business, non-business. Whatever is in business has to be bifurcated into taxable, exempt, common, taxable, full credit, exempt, no credit, common, based on turnover credit. Is this clear? But before we get into this taxable, exempt, and common, no, we have to do another exercise. Why I did not tell this before? Because it is I had to go in sequence. 17.1 is that, then 17.2 is that, and 17.5. 17.5 says before you get into taxable, exempt, or common, please do another check whether these credits are eligible at all or blocked credit. Okay, only if it is eligible, it will go under taxable. Only if it is eligible, it will go under exempt. Only if it is eligible, it will go under common. If it is ineligible, forget it. Don't even have to basket into whether taxable, exempt, or eligible. I am not allowing you credit at all. Okay, so for that, you will have to go to section 17, subsection 5. Clear? One second, my screen is not visible completely. Okay. Now, what are those blocked credits? So wherever I have not discussed, I will come to that. Don't worry. Okay. So now, first, motor car used for transportation of passengers having a sitting capacity of up to 13 people, including driver, no credit. Sitting capacity, not capability. Omni van has more capability, but still no credit because capacity is only 13. Correct? And we are only talking about passenger transport vehicle. Lorry, only 2 people can sit there. Correct? Everything else is goods. But I can take full credit because it is not passenger transport vehicle. It is goods transport vehicle. Clear, everyone? So what is the restriction applicable on? Only on transport vehicle, passenger transport vehicle. But there also I can take the credit. See, everything has an exception. If I can prove to the government believes that if you are taking an Innova car, 100% you are going to Bannerghatta Zoo only with your family. Correct? So I will not give you credit. But if you can prove that you are not going to Bannerghatta Zoo, or if you are going to Bannerghatta Zoo and adding value, they will give you credit. So if you go to Bannerghatta Zoo with family, it is personal consumption, no credit. But if your business only is for transportation of passengers, where you are charging GST, you will get the input tax credit. So one of the exception is passenger transport services like Sharma Transport, SLV Tours and Travels, unless they are not required to pay tax because it is covered under RCM. So RCM is separate. Regularly, if on your output you are paying tax, okay, because of passenger transport services, you will get input tax credit. All right. So example, there is SLV Tours and Travels, who has been appointed by a private limited company for pick and drop of employees, and there are only 10. It is a 10-seater vehicle or a 5-seater vehicle. Okay. Now, because this SLV Tours and Travels is charging GST on this private limited company, they will be able to claim input tax credit. Clear? That is first exception. What is the second exception? Second exception is if you are in the business of buying and selling car. If their credit is not given, imagine what will be the value of car. They purchase from Maruti at 100 plus GST of 50, 150 on that they will load profit and then again sell it at 50% tax. So effectively government will get 75% tax. Correct? No? They said no, you are selling it for outward supply only, so I will give you credit. Okay. Third, for driving schools, they said you are buying for the purpose of teaching people how to increase the population on the road. Right? No problem. It leads to output tax. Right? So please take the credit. Right? So these are the 3 exceptions in which case I will be able to claim credit even on motor vehicles, even if it is less than 13 seaters. Okay. Then rent a cab. So renting, hiring, leasing of car. What is directly not allowed, indirectly also not allowed. You cannot say, okay, no problem, I will not buy a car, I will rent the car. Less than 13 seater, I will rent it through Ola. No credit. I will hire it. No credit. I will lease it. No credit. Okay. Plus insurance and maintenance of the car. No credit. So basically, if it is a less than 13-seater capacity car or up to 13-seater capacity car, whether it is insurance, whether it is maintenance, or whether it is renting, hiring, leasing, anything you do, no credit will be given to you. Correct? Then comes staff welfare. Health and life insurance of the employee, no credit. But building insurance, credit is available. First, the government says employees are important. Then they say on health and life of employees, I will not give you credit. Building, I will give you credit. Asset, I will give you credit. See, because they have said anything used for business, I will give you credit. But they have restricted credit only for what? Healthcare and life insurance. Correct? No. So only healthcare and life insurance, there is no credit. That means for any other insurance which you take, credit will be available. Right? Agreed, everyone? Okay.
Yes.
Very good. Now, next, works contract which leads to construction of an immovable property, you will not get any credit because immovable property is outside GST. So what you are constructing is something which is outside GST. You are not adding any value. I will not give you credit. But because of this, what is happening now? Assuming I am a chartered accountant. No, that you don't assume. I am a chartered accountant. Okay, I have constructed a building. This is assumption because I have not constructed. Okay, I have constructed a building where I will practice as a chartered accountant. Okay, what is my input? Cement. What is my output? Statutory audit. Government is saying that you have built an immobile property. After 10 years also, if you sell, you will not pay output tax on this. So don't tell me this cement is for your business. This has gone in construction of an immobile property which will be sold after 10 years. You're using that immobile property today, no problem. But the output is building on which you are never going to pay tax. So I will not give you input tax rate of the same. I am a hotel. I have constructed a hotel. I'm using that hotel I'm constructing a hotel so that I can give the property on rent. Output is there linked to the immobile property, but that immobile property I will never pay tax. So construction of the immobile property, I will not get the input tax credit. You're able to follow? That is the logic based on which input is being denied. Right? Then employee related, just because it is staff welfare related, it does not mean you will not get the credit. But some of the staff welfare expenses like food, beverages, outdoor catering, beauty treatment, health and cosmetic surgery, subscription to any club, gym, etc., no credit will be available. Clear? So what are those? Food, beverages, outdoor catering, beauty treatment, health and cosmetic surgery, subscription to any gym or any club. But if these are used for an outward supply, let's take an example. Okay, Infosys gives catering to Taj so that people in their office can be given food every day. Input is food, output is, hey Sunil, don't tell toilet. Output is software. Okay, input is food, output is software. Credit not available. Okay, but now if Taj sells the food to an event manager, and event manager has got a contract in Palace Ground, all inclusive contract of setting up the stage, issuing the tickets, picking up the guest, dropping the guest, everything he has to take care, including the food. Input is food, output is event management, including the food. He will be able to claim the credit. See, government also wants to be reasonable and say, if you are able to demonstrate the input has been used directly for output, I will give you credit. But you are serving food to the employees, which is personal in nature, I will not give you input tax credit of the same. Clear? Okay. Travel benefits to employees on vacation, no credit. Travel to employees for work, credit is available. So that means if the employee takes his own wife, no credit. If employee takes somebody else's wife for work purposes, colleague boss, right, then credit is available. Correct? No. So if the director takes his wife, it is personal. If the director takes personal secretary, then it is business. Look at this. Credit will be available. I don't know what government is trying to promote here. Okay, right. Next. Then membership of club health, we discussed that. If you are buying anything from a composition dealer, he should not charge the tax. By mistake, he charges the tax. You don't take the mistake, don't do the mistake of claiming the credit. That's what they're trying to say. Anyways, he should not charge tax. So the invoice, if he gives with tax, that itself is wrong. But by mistake, if he charges a tax, you don't take input credit of the same. Okay. Anything for personal consumption, again, this is revision of revision. Already you told me, no, other than business, you cannot take credit. Anything for personal, you cannot take the credit. Okay. But employee enjoying something cannot be treated as personal. If something is being consumed by the employee, that does not mean it is personal. So assuming I have 2 employees in my office and I have given laptop to them, and 50% of the time they're using for watching Facebook, okay, and 50% for office work. Okay, that does not mean the balance, the 50% is for personal consumption and I have to reverse the input credit. For me, I have given it to the employee, it is for business use only. Okay, so that a company basically the company cannot have personal use at all. A company will have everything for business use only, right? Okay, then the most important, goods lost. What do you mean by goods lost? Not get lost, goods lost. Okay, goods lost means what? They see goods lost and loss of goods, 2 different things. Goods lost is assuming in my godown there are 1 lakh units of what innovative product we can think, laptop. Okay, in my godown there are 1 lakh units of laptop. Somebody comes and steals 1 laptop. Okay, that is goods lost. Okay, what is loss of goods? In the manufacturing process, when I melt the metal, some 10 grams will get evaporated. The cost of the normal units should be borne by the good units. Correct? So if it is a normal loss, you will get the credit because it is loss of goods, not goods lost. Right? So goods lost, no credit. Loss of goods, credit will be available because 17.5H does not cover it. Clear? Okay. Stolen. Again, similar to goods lost only. See, goods lost can be of 2 kinds. One, stolen by the employee, or second, when I was transporting from place A to place B, 1 carton fell off on the way. Okay, it is not stolen, but I don't have track of it. That is goods lost. Okay, goods lost, stolen, destroyed. How can it be destroyed? Fire, water, all those things. Because of some natural calamity, it can be destroyed. Okay, or written off. Accounting standard 2 says cost or NRV, whichever is less. So when I write off in the books that stock, that means I'm expecting that I will not be able to realize full value of the stock. When I write off, I am required to reverse the input tax credit. Is this clear? Pradyumna, attention. You are able to follow or
Yes.
Little tension will be there. Don't worry. Little has to be there. Otherwise, we will not read. Everything I know, then you will not attend the session only. Correct? Right? Goods lost, stolen, destroyed. I'm not able to see my screen. Okay? Destroyed, disposed of by way of gift or samples. So if I give anything as a gift to somebody, or I give it as a sample. So let's take an example. Head and Shoulders gives samples shampoo sachets with Times of India to whole of India. Okay? And it will be written sample, not for sale. That means to that extent, they will not be able to claim the credit. See, it is no doubt used for the purpose of business. Section 16 satisfied. But what does 17.5 say? Notwithstanding 16. Okay, it is used for business. I don't want to give you credit. Is it a fundamental right? No, it is only a benefit. I will not give you that benefit. No, sir, but I am using it for the business. If I don't, hey, do whatever. If it is sample, I will not give you credit. That's all. Clear? Okay. Or given as a gift. So, Diwali time, I gave a gift worth 30,000 rupees to my employee. I will not give. Nobody is listening. Okay. I will not give. But if I give, no credit. But if it is more than 50,000, look at this. If it is more than 50,000, it will become an output tax. And once the law deems it to be an output tax, that means it is no longer a gift. That means input credit is available, but output tax will have to be paid. Correct? No. In the same law, the same thing cannot be output tax also and free also. Once you have deemed it as liable to output tax, you will get the input tax credit. So any gift given to employees more than 50,000 output tax, any gift given to employees less than 50,000 credit reversal. Any gift given to a dealer, super sales he made, 1 crore units he sold. You yourself have not been able to sell that much products of yours. Okay, your distributor sold. So you gave him a gift of 1 lakh rupees. No need to pay output tax because Schedule 1 is applicable only for related parties. Your distributor is not a related party. Here, you have to only reverse the input rate because of 17.5. You gave him a gold coin during Diwali. No input tax rate will be available. Clear? Okay. Okay, what do you mean by exempt turnover? We said common credit multiplied by exempt turnover divided by total turnover. You are required to reverse the input tax credit. What is exempt turnover? Exempt turnover has been defined as turnover on which you are not required to pay tax because it is covered under notification 12 of 2017. What is 12 of 2017?
Services.
Yes, that
Services which is exempt from tax. Correct? That is one. Second, non-taxable supplies. Mehek, what is that? Alcohol.
Consumption.
From the Mehek only we can find out whether it is alcohol or water. Correct? No. So alcohol or petrol. Okay, that is also exempt supplies. Plus, if you are making any supply on which somebody else is required to pay tax under RCM, that means you are not paying tax. In your hands, it is a exempt supply. Actually, it is not exempt supply, but government is getting money. They are getting output tax from that guy and the reversal of input rate from me. Okay, so if I give any sponsorship services to a body corporate, they will have to pay tax under reverse charge mechanism. They will pay the tax and I will reverse the input credit. Plus, remember 3 important exempt supplies. Okay, what are those? Securities. Securities is neither goods nor services. But if you sell the securities, 1% of the sale value is considered as exempt turnover. 1% of the sale value. How do they get 1%? PhD we will do after the exam. Now you remember 1% of securities, sale value. Correct? No? Very good. Then land and building is not liable to GST. But when you sell the land or sell the building, the stamp duty value of that building or land will be treated as exempt turnover. So if assuming the stamp duty value is 60 lakhs, but you have sold it 1 crore, your exempt turnover will be 60 lakhs only. Okay, stamp duty value is 60 lakhs. You have sold it 30 lakhs. Still, the exempt turnover will be 60 lakhs only. Clear, everyone? Okay, so all this will be exempt turnover. One very important point: interest is not exempt from exempt from GST under notification 12, but for the purpose of Rule 42, it is not treated as an exempt turnover. So for rule 42, interest has to be reduced from the exempt turnover. I will repeat again. Common credits, how much can I not claim, how much I should not claim is given by rule 42. That is common credit multiplied by exempt turnover divided by total turnover. What is total turnover? Exempt turnover divided by plus taxable turnover. What is exempt turnover? Exempt turnover is notification 12 of 2017 plus anything which I am paying tax under RCM, anything my outward supply on which somebody else is paying tax under RCM. Okay, and please recall our example. I may pay on RCM on something that should not be added. My outward supply on which somebody is paying out tax under RCM, only that has to be added. Okay, because exempt supply when I'm talking about, I'm talking about my outward supply, not my inward supply on which I'm paying tax. Correct, no, Deepa? Now only eyes are open. Correct? Very good. Right, then any non-taxable supply, alcohol and petrol, दोनों का महक आएगा, महक, correct? No, right? Then securities, 1% of the sale value. Next, land and building, only stamp value. Whatever might be the actual value, but on stamp value only you have to reverse the credit. Okay, because we will be able to remember all of this. CA Institute said, let's give a twist. What is that? Interest is exempt turnover, but not an exempt turnover for the purpose of rule 42. Correct? Clear? Shruti, you are able to follow?
Yes, sir.
Correct. What you are following? You're following, no, it's concentration is somewhere else only. Focus, focus, focus. Correct, no? Only 2 hours I have. I am taking from you, Shruti. Please, yeah, don't mind. Okay. So now interest is exempt turnover, but for the purpose of rule 42, it is not an exempt turnover. See, when you watch the movies and you don't understand, what do you say? What a twist. In GST also you should do like that only. Why should you make faces and say, oh, what this guy is talking? Correct, Mr. What a twist here. This though I never expected. Triple R, first scene, one inspector is not even inspector, constable is able to fight 500 people and get one guy into the circle. Amazing. Correct, no? Cannot believe only like this can happen. GST also is like that only. Right? Okay. In 1 minute, everybody knows not to step. I am trying from 6 months, not even one leg step I am getting properly. Correct? No? Right? Okay. So interest is an exempt supply, but for the purpose of rule 42, it is not an exempt supply. Clear? Okay. Now we will go to something else I wanted to cover in this exempt supply. Everything covered.
Banking.
Sorry?
Credit reversal at banking and financial institution.
That okay. That's not relevant too much, but okay, we'll discuss. See now, in banking industry, we'll have only transaction in money, which is not liable to GST. They will have interest, which is exempt income. So if they have to reverse the credit, nothing will be left. Only Chambu will be left. If they have to reverse full credit, everything is common credit only. Right? So they will not get the credit. So government said, okay, let's do one thing. I understand that you will not get any credit. So let's do one thing. You either follow rule 42, which is common credit multiplied by exempt divided by total. Okay. Or on whatever credit you get, no, divide by 2. That means 50% you will not get the credit. Forget what credit you were supposed to get. Only 50% you will get. But once you follow this approach, don't keep changing. Oh, this month I'm getting 50%. Next month my taxable turnover is 70%. So I will switch to one. Once you have opted for one scheme, that scheme has to be followed for the entire year. Only in the next year you can move to the next scheme. Right? So either you follow rule 42, that is common credit multiplied by exempt turnover divided by total turnover, or whatever credit you get divided by 2. That means only 50% credit you will get. Right? Okay. Next, we quickly move from 16, 17, 18. I will come to that a little later. Now we move to section 22, 23, 24, registration. Okay. Now what is in store for registration? 1. I have to obtain registration if my turnover exceeds 20 lakhs. This 20 lakhs includes taxable turnover as well as exempt turnover. Correct? No. And in that exempt turnover, here interest is also included. Only for Rule 42, interest is excluded from exempt turnover. Okay. So here, if my turnover exceeds 20 lakhs, I am required to obtain registration. Assuming I am a hospital having only wing A, I don't have wing B. Wing B is under construction. Okay. Should I get registered or not? Turnover is 500 crores. Should I get registered? Not get registered. Full turnover is exempt. Full turnover is exempt. Should I obtain registration or not?
Yes.
Under
Yes.
section 22, I have to obtain registration. When we discuss 23, because I have only exempt supply, I am not required to obtain registration. Correct? No? Right? We are now under 22. Under 22, if my turnover crosses 20 lakhs, I am required to obtain registration. Correct? No, Aditi? Okay. Then register under the existing law, not relevant. 5 years back, that was relevant. Okay. Next, if I am involved in a merger, demerger, transfer, which leads to a new entity which coming into existence, that new entity has to obtain registration irrespective of the turnover being 20 lakhs. Or if there is a new person coming into existence because the father has died and the legal heir comes into picture, even if his turnover is less than 10 lakh rupees, he has to obtain mandatory registration under section 22. Clear? Okay. Now section 23 says, if you are a person who is dealing exclusively in exempt supplies or who is dealing exclusively in supplies which are liable to tax under reverse charge mechanism, you don't obtain registration. So now my hospital wing A, 500 crores turnover, under 22 I have to register, but 23 says don't register, everything is exempt. But now 23 comes into picture when everything is exclusively for exempt. Assuming I collect parking fee 1 rupee from every patient, 500 crores turnover, 2 lakh rupees parking fees. No immunity under 23, go back to 22, obtain registration for the 2 lakh rupees and pay tax on the 2 lakh rupees. Correct? No? Right. And if I'm an agriculturist, who is agriculturist? An individual or a family who is tilling the land on their own or under their supervision, people are tilling. Only then you're agriculturist. That means Tata is an agriculturist. Tata is not an agriculturist because Tata is an individual. Okay. Next, if Rian is a software engineer who has a house in HSR layout and he has one farm, agricultural farm near Husker Halli. Okay. That is no longer a Halli, but assuming Husker Halli has a farm. He is not supervising. He has constructed a house, given it to one family and said, you grow whatever you want to grow. At the end of the month, I will come. I will collect everything which is there. Whatever is required for your food, 20% you want to sell, whatever you want to do, balance, everything is mine. It is not under his supervision. He is not an agriculturist. Right? He has to be there. And under his supervision, the agriculture should happen. Only then exemption from agriculture is available. Otherwise, agriculturist is not exempt. So if a company is growing coffee, they have to get registered. They have to only pay tax. Correct, no, Ratan? Followed, right? Okay.
Yes, sir.
Now let's go to section 24. What does section 24 says? Forget 22. Forget that your turnover is more than 20 lakhs or less than 20 lakhs. I don't care. If you are under any of these categories, please obtain registration. Half the categories are not relevant only, out of syllabus. Okay, sorry, but we'll discuss. If you are making interstate supply, even 1 rupee, you are required to obtain registration under the GST law. But then they realized this is a mistake. So they only gave exemption. They said, as long as you are a service provider, okay, the 20 lakhs limit will apply to you. And even if you are providing services to a entity outside the state, that means you are providing interstate supplies, you are not required to obtain registration. So I will repeat again. Sai Rishika, I will repeat again. Okay. I am a chartered accountant. Turnover is 15 lakh rupees. 2 lakh rupees I have billed to my client who is in Hosur. Am I required to obtain registration?
No.
No. I am a cracker manufacturer in Hosur. I have 15 lakhs turnover. 2 lakh rupees crackers I sold in Bangalore on Hosur Road. Am I required to obtain registration?
Yes.
Yes, because interstate supply. You are able to follow? For goods, limit is not applicable. If you are under interstate supply, you have to mandatorily obtain registration. Services up to 20 lakhs, even if there is interstate, you can still claim exemption from registration. Correct? Second, handicrafts. See, Chenpatna toys, Karnataka fellow will never buy. Correct? No. Their value will be outside Karnataka only. So they realized handicrafts in that state, never they will have turnover. It will have in the exhibitions outside Karnataka only, that value will be there. So they said handicrafts, if your turnover is outside the state, though it is goods, as long as the total turnover is less than 20 lakh rupees, you are not required to obtain registration. But one condition you have to satisfy. You have to generate an e-way bill, because otherwise how will government keep control of whether the turnover exceeded 20 lakhs or not? Now the question is, e-way bill can a non-registered person generate? So when you generate an e-way bill, when you have to create a login for e-way bill, there is an option which says citizen. For everybody else, you have to give your GST number. The person who does not have a GST number and who has to generate a login, he has to use citizen, as if others are not citizen. But okay, forget it. Okay, I will not get into politics of it. Okay, so you will have to get register as a citizen. You will get login ID and password. You will use that login ID and password to generate a e-way bill. All this we'll have to tell to a person who is who is making Chenpatna toys and whose turnover is less than 20 lakhs. Government is expecting we'll do all these things. Papa, that guy will do all these things. Okay, but that in exam you have to write all this. Okay, don't share as per law, but my view, I strongly disagree with the policy of the government. Don't write all that. Okay. After you finish CA, on LinkedIn you write this. Clear? Okay. Next, casual taxable person. Who is a CTP? CTP is a person who has a base in India, but who does not have a base in the state where he wants to do business. Correct? So from Tamil Nadu, I will come to Karnataka when RCB matches are there and set up a stall in national grounds to sell crackers in the hope that RCB will win. Correct? No? Right? So then that cracker setup by a Shivkasi fellow in Bangalore who does not have a place in Bangalore is called a CTP. He has to mandatorily obtain registration under the Karnataka GST law. And his registration is completely different. When you apply for registration and say you are a CTP, it will ask you for an advance payment of tax and only then grant you the registration. And that registration is valid only for 3 months, which can be extended by another 3 months. What if after 6 months also there is Diwali now? After IPL 6 months is Diwali. Now you are a permanent resident of Karnataka. So more than 6 months, even Kannadigas don't stay in Karnataka. They go off to US. Correct? No. So you are now a permanent resident. You please take a regular registration. Don't take CTP. Right? Okay. Now NRTP. What do you mean by NRTP? NRTP is a non-resident taxable person. That means a person who does not have a base in India at all. So there is a exhibition happening in Palace Ground on, say, cryptocurrency. Somebody from Dubai wants to demonstrate his product in Palace Ground. Okay, who does not have a place in India at all. Now he will have to obtain a registration as a NRTP. Again, when you choose NRTP, you have to pay taxes in advance. That is valid for 3 months, which can be extended by another 3 months. The difference between CTP and NRTP is NRTP is a person who is resident outside India. CTP is a person who is resident in India but not in that state. That is one. Second, CTP can get credit on whatever he purchases. NRTP can get credit only on goods which is importing. See, assuming there is a CTP for stall number 1, there is an NRTP in stall number 2 of Palace Ground. Okay, the person who is organizing this exhibition is going to charge you for that stall which he is giving you. Correct? So he will charge you, say, 1 lakh rupees rent plus GST. CTP can take the credit of that 18,000 rupees. NRTP cannot take the credit. NRTP can take the credit only of goods which he has imported, on which he has paid customs duty. Clear, everyone? See, why question should not come now? That phase is gone. After exam, why if it comes, we will discuss. Now, this is what it is. Correct, no? Okay. Next, OIDR not relevant. If you are liable to pay tax under reverse charge mechanism, see, you GTA to a notified person. Who is a notified person? A body corporate is a notified person. So if a body corporate receives services from a GTA worth 10,000 rupees, he is liable to pay tax under reverse charge mechanism. He has to mandatorily obtain registration under the GST law. If you don't write the exam now, no, the answer will change in the next exam. Clear? Okay. Then notified goods and services, as of now, it has not been notified. So no problem. Required to deduct TDS out of syllabus. ISD out of syllabus. E-commerce operator out of syllabus. So we don't have to bother about those. Right? Okay. Now, 25, section 25 says in these cases you have to take a registration. Distinct persons. What is a distinct person? You have a branch in Bangalore, you have a branch in Chennai. Same PAN, 2 GST numbers, that is called distinct person. Okay. In the same state, if you have 2 different locations, at your option, you can take 2 separate registrations. You have an office in Kormangala, you have an office in HSR layout. You can take single registration. But if you want to complicate your life, if you think your life is very smooth, then you can take 2 registrations. Clear? If you want. Okay. But say in the same state, you have a SEZ and you have an entity other than SEZ. So you have taken a SEZ unit license and you have a you have a unit outside SEZ also. So you have an office in Manyata Tech Park and you have in Bagmane Tech Park. Manyata Tech Park is SEZ, Bagmane Tech Park is not SEZ. So for Manyata, you have to take one registration. For Bagmane, you have to take another registration. So if you have SEZ and non-SEZ, you have to mandatorily take 2 separate registrations. All your SEZ in the same state will be single registration. All your registration other than SEZ will be a single registration. Clear? Okay. It's done. Okay. This have now become very, very important. Okay, which is procedural. Once you apply for registration, and after application of registration and the registration is granted to you, if there is any change in facts, director has changed, address has changed, your name has changed, all right, or your bank account has changed, then you have to apply for amendment in registration. Clear? Okay. You don't file the returns for 6 months. They can suspend your registration. What do you mean by suspend? Very close to cancellation. It is very close to cancellation, but it is not cancellation. When they cancel, you cannot do anything on the GST portal. When they suspend, it is a warning. If you don't fall in line, I will cancel the registration. So if you don't file the returns, they will suspend the registration. You will have to file all the earlier returns. They will again make your registration active. They will suspend the registration. If you continue not filing the returns, they will cancel the registration. That cancellation of registration can be suo moto, means what? On my own. Or it can be suo moto by the officer on his own. If he believes that you are a fraudulent person, if he believes that you have engaged in an activity which leads to evasion of taxes, if you have got caught in a fraudulent invoicing racket, you are only buying and selling bills, not input, not goods. You buy bill, you sell bill. Correct? You are acting not in line with the GST law. He can suspend he can cancel the registration suo moto. Or you can also cancel. How? You have stopped doing the business. Your turnover has become less than 20 lakh rupees. Okay, in that case, you can also apply for cancellation. Right? Now, look at this. I did not file the returns. They will suspend the registration. Okay. I continued not filing the returns. They will cancel the registration. Once they cancel the registration, that time I'll get to know, oh, yeah, I did not file the returns only. Because when I cancel, my vendors will be able to see when they upload my invoice will not get uploaded at all. It will show this registration number is not valid, not valid. So then I can run to the GST office within 3 months' time and say, oh, forgot, I missed, my accountant left, my accountant died, or whatever reason I want to give, I can give. But that is possible only within 3 months' time. Okay. First 30 days, my officer, that is assistant commissioner. Next 30 days with my joint commissioner. Next 30 days with the commissioner. With every 30 days extra, I have to go to the higher officer and explain the reason. And I have to file all my past returns and I have to file an application called revocation. What do you make in my revocation? Calling back, saying, please give me back my registration. Okay. That can be done only within 90 days. 30 days assistant commissioner, next 30 days joint commissioner, next 30 days commissioner. After that, over, patient dead. Now you cannot do anything. If you go to Supreme Court also, nothing can be done. Right? Is this clear? So After cancellation also, you've got 90 days. You can file all the returns, pay all the taxes, and apply for revocation. When you apply for revocation within 90 days and give them a reason why you could not file the returns, they will revoke your registration. That means they will give you an active registration. Is this clear? Okay. Please read all this because lot of amendments have been made to these clauses. So in that optional questions, no one question which you will not know the answer. Mostly it will be from registration. Okay. And now because there were a lot of frauds, what they have done, they have linked the registration or they have linked the refund with Aadhaar authentication. So only if you authenticate your registration with Aadhaar, then you will be able to apply for new registration or revoke your existing registration. Assuming your registration has been cancelled, it was existing, it is cancelled. You want to revoke, it will not be possible unless you authenticate it by Aadhaar. If you want to file refund application, you are an existing guy who did not do Aadhaar authentication, your life will go on, no problem. But if you want to file a refund, Aadhaar authentication is mandatory. Clear, everyone? Okay. Next, consideration. Somebody was asking definitions. Anjana was asking definition. One definition I'll cover here, that's all. Right? Okay. Now, section 2, subsection. What? Some years back we had discussed. Section 2, subsection. This coming, Pradhan is saying, coming, somewhere in the door, so many doors which I have in my brain, and one of the doors, the answer is there. I have to just knock the correct door. Section 2, subsection 31 defines the term consideration. Okay. Consideration can flow from the recipient or it can come from a third party. There can be no third party to the contract, but there can be a third party to consideration. Contract Act, ND Kapoor told me this. Correct? No? Right. Very nice. So, consideration can flow from the recipient. It can come from the third party also. From wherever money comes, money has to come. Remember Flipkart example. I am a vendor on Flipkart. I will sell on Flipkart on a discount. The customer will pay me 80,000. 20,000 Flipkart will pay me. Totally, I have received 1 lakh. I am required to pay tax on 1 lakh because the consideration received by me on sale is 1 lakh rupees. Who gives consideration is not important. What consideration I have received is the value on which tax is required to be discharged. Correct? Then consideration can be monetary, that is money, or it can be non-monetary. That means old laptop, old UPS. Correct? Anything which is given in return or can be a non-monetary consideration. Right? Next, deposit. See, whatever is in green, no, is a consideration. Whatever is not in green is not a consideration. Okay? Simple. Deposit is not a consideration. All right. So you're not required to pay tax on the rental deposit which you get for renting out a commercial property. Clear? Okay. Non-refundable deposit is an income taxable on the day you receive it. See, Deepa madam, you are taking one property. You finished your CA. You want to practice in MG Road. So you took one property of 1,000 square feet. Okay. Viewing metro. All right. So now you've taken that 1,000 square feet office. You are paying rent of 1 lakh. The owner will say, give 10 lakh rupees deposit. The 10 lakh rupees deposit will be given back to you when you vacate the office. Refundable deposit, not a consideration. GST not applicable on the same. Clear? Okay. Now the landlord says, I will collect 10 lakh rupees from you as refundable deposit, 5 lakh rupees from you as non-refundable deposit, and rent, instead of making it 1 lakh rupees, I will make it 95,000 rupees because your upfront paid me 5 lakh rupees. Correct? So then GST is applicable on 95 on that 5 lakh rupees, which is non-refundable deposit, and the 95,000. In income tax also, this non-refundable deposit in the year of receipt will become an income. Correct now? Right? Okay. Next. Say Deepa madam has paid 1 lakh into 10 lakh deposit. But in the 10th month, she did not pay the rent. She had a fight with the landlord. So you can look at her also, look like Gunda only. Okay. So now she had a fight with the landlord. She did not pay the rent. Okay. Now what the landlord did, he adjusted the deposit against the rent of the 10th month. Okay. And paid her back 9 lakh rupees. What he got was 10 lakh. he adjusted 1 month rent against the 1 month rent against the deposit and paid the balance to Deepa. When the deposit is applied, it becomes a consideration and it will become liable to GST. Correct, no, Prithvi? Okay, right. Harshita, not able to follow? You are able to follow? Okay, I thought you did something.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Sorry. Okay. Shri Guru, how are you?
Yes, sir. Fine, sir.
Very nice. Good to see you. Right. Okay. Now, price subsidy. Price subsidy given by the central government or state government, don't add. Price subsidy given by anybody else, please add. Example, again, Flipkart. Okay. Or you are making paper bags. There is an NGO which says your paper bags are 5 rupees, nobody will buy. But you are doing a good cause. So I will give you 2 rupees for every bag. Now you please sell it at 3 rupees. As a NGO, I have got 5 rupees for every paper bag. 3 from the end customer, 2 from another NGO. It is a price subsidy. I have to pay tax on 5 rupees only. Let's take another example. Okay. Ola comes up with a scooter. Okay. There is a FAME subsidy 2, where government says, I will pay 10,000 for every sale of Ola two-wheeler, not to the end customer, to Ola only directly they will pay, assuming. So what Ola does, their vehicle they wanted to sell at 1 lakh rupees. Now they are able to sell at 90,000 rupees. Okay. But they've got 1 lakh. From whom did they get 10,000 rupees? 90,000 from the customer, 10,000 from central or the state government. Correct, Shruti? Right?
Yes,
So
sir.
when they get it from central or the state government, that will not be considered as consideration. You are not required to pay taxes on the same. But now there is Infosys Foundation who says, Ola, you are doing a phenomenal job. When we book the cab through your app, you don't send the cab, but you are giving electric vehicles. Very good job. People are not using cab, they're using your scooter. Very good, right? So now I will give you 5,000 for every car you sell. What Ola will do now, they will sell the two-wheeler at 85,000 rupees. Because 5,000 they're getting from Infosys and 10,000 they're getting from central or the state government. What is the value on which GST is required to be discharged? 85,000 from end customer plus 5,000 from Infosys Foundation. Totally 90,000 they're required to pay tax. 10,000 received from the government. No need to pay tax on the same. You're able to follow? Very nice. Right? Donations we already discussed yesterday when we were discussing. I think whose example we had taken, Papa, that they did not switch on the video only today. Who was that? Harshvardhan, huh? No, Harshvardhan is there. Somebody else's name we had taken.
Ravish.
Sorry? Like this, that photo. Who? Prithvi, huh?
Yes, sir.
Prithvi is switched on. He wants advertisement today also. Right, okay. Right, so that is as far as consideration is concerned. Anything I missed? No? Yeah, there is one. I don't know why that circular is still there in the GST material, in your material, in the first chapter itself. It says, I'm a painter. Okay. I have given the painting to the gallery to display. And if they're able to sell, they will sell it and transfer the money, but 10% will be their commission. So they say, when I send this painting to the gallery, they're acting as my agent to sell this painting. Sending it to them is not a supply. So when I send, it is not liable to GST. But when they sell, it becomes a sale from me, the artist, to the end customer. And when they collect 10% commission, that is the supply which they have given to me, on which they are required to pay GST. That is the clarification in the circular. I don't know why a circular was required. They have given and they have not deleted also from the study material. So I am also discussing this. Okay. Quickly, we'll go to valuation. One second. Sorry, I overpressed the enter buttons. Right. Valuation. Transaction value is the value on which GST is required to be paid. What is the transaction value? Transaction value refers to the total consideration paid. Whatever consideration I have paid is referred to as a transaction value. Assuming I will sell one t-shirt. I have a shop in Mamulpet where I sell t-shirts. Okay. Now Ravish comes there and Prithvi comes there. Okay, separately they'll come. They want one Iron Man t-shirt. Okay, I sell it to Ravish at 500 rupees. I sell it to Prithvi, the same t-shirt on the same day at 450 rupees. Okay, and both are not related to me. Now, the normal MRP which is applicable on the t-shirt is 600 rupees. But I've sold it to Ravish at 500. Prithvi 450, Pradyumna 750. Okay, I have sold. Now, what is the value on which GST is required to be discharged? Because they are not related, forget MRP. MRP, Pradyumna can file a case against me under Consumer Protection Act. But for the purpose of GST, whatever I have collected from Ravish, Prithvi, Pradyumna respectively, on that only GST is required to be paid. Because that is the transaction value for a transaction between two unrelated parties where price is the sole consideration. If price is not the sole consideration, our standard example, Deepa takes a property on rent in MG Road, 10 lakhs deposit, 1 lakh rent. On 1 lakh GST is applicable. Deepa says, sir, I am very poor, I don't have money, 1 lakh rent I cannot pay, I will give you 1 crore deposit. Okay, don't charge rent from me. So landlord says, okay, no problem, you are very poor, you give me only 1 crore, don't give me 10 lakhs deposit, 1 lakh per month, I will not charge you rent. Now in this case, price is not the sole consideration. What is the landlord getting? He is getting 90 lakhs extra on which he will get 12% interest as opportunity cost, which is compensating the rent which Deepa was otherwise supposed to give. Price is not the sole consideration. Directly or indirectly, some other factors has influenced the price. That value cannot be accepted. Then on what value GST is to be paid? CF value. Don't bother. You don't have to go beyond section 15. Clear? Okay. Or when it is a transaction between related parties. Okay. So a company has a large office space and they have a subsidiary also. And the subsidiary wants the space in that large office space. Okay. When that large holding company rents out the property to a subsidiary company, then there is always a doubt that they would have given the subsidiary company at a lesser price. Or if the holding company has a very high input, okay, they would have given it at a very high output price so that their input gets utilized. So there is always a possibility of adjustment of value when the transaction is between related parties. So the government says, I will not believe in the value. Okay, then on what value GST is to be paid? CF value. Clear? So when the transaction is between related parties or price is not the sole consideration, then the transaction value cannot be accepted. Okay. Now, if the transaction value is accepted under section 15 subsection 1, 15.2 says add something more to it. 15.3 says subtract something from it. Now, what should be added? 15.1 says any taxes other than GST. Let's take an example. Okay. You have seen Central in MG Road. That full building has been taken over by Central. Now it is shut down, but the entire building has been taken by Central on rent. So I will tell them, if I am the owner, I will tell them, look, you have taken the entire property on rent, give me 20 lakh rupees rent. Plus, I have to pay municipal taxes. Okay, I have to pay, or property tax, I'm sorry. Okay, 1 lakh rupees property tax I have to pay. So you only pay that. Okay, or I will pay it, but collect it on your behalf. So what is the amount I am collecting from him? 21 lakh rupees I am collecting from him. That 1 lakh is a tax which I am collecting, which is not under the GST law. GST law says on the 21 lakhs, you are required to pay GST. Any taxes collected other than the GST law, on that taxes have to be paid. Okay. Take example of tobacco. Yesterday we discussed on tobacco, excise duty is also applicable. So now when somebody manufactures tobacco, rolls it as a cigarette, he has to pay excise duty. Now, when he sells it to somebody, on the value of the cigarette plus the excise duty, GST will be applicable. So, our cascading effect of tax, first class you told me there is no cascading. In GST, no cascading effect of tax. But if there are any other taxes, cascading effect is there. Correct? Okay. Next, third, very interesting, okay. For which they had to issue circular, then we had to go to Supreme Court, then they had to withdraw the circular. In income tax, there is a concept called TCS, tax collection at source. Correct? If you buy a car more than say 10 lakh rupees, some 1% TCS or something you'll have to pay. Correct? No? So there was a circular which was issued to say when you buy a car, okay, TCS has to be deducted, has to be collected. So that means it's a tax other than GST. So you have to add that, and on that GST has to be paid. So when some person went to Supreme Court and said, sir, very interesting, sir, this circular is very interesting. I am going to buy a car worth 10 lakh rupees. The distributor of car is going to collect 1% TCS from me. 1% TCS is on the value of the car. Value of the car is 10 lakh plus GST. Correct? So value of the car is 15 lakhs. On 15 lakhs, he will deduct TCS of 1%, which is how much? 15 lakh, 1 lakh, 15,000 rupees. He will collect. So now he will collect from me 15 lakhs plus 15,000. 15 lakh, 15,000 is the invoice. Now you are saying on 15 lakh 15,000, GST has to be applied. On 15 lakhs already GST applied. So on 15,000 again 50%, which is 7,500. So now what is the invoice value? 15 lakh 22,500. But TCS has been deducted only on 15 lakh 15,000. So on 7,500 again TCS has to come. So add TCS, but on the TCS GST has not been paid. So I will pay GST. On that GST, TCS not been deducted. So Excel sheet over. You tell me what has to be done. Then Supreme Court said income tax GST department, sir, TCS is not a tax. It is advance collection of tax. Even if you look at in income tax, it is in under chapter advance taxes. It is not under income tax. It is not levy of tax. It is collection of tax in advance. That's all. When you buy the car, it is not an income, it is an expenditure. So you don't have to pay income tax. What is being collected is a tax in advance. That's all. Correct? So TCS is not a tax, which means GST is not required to be paid on TCS. So please withdraw your beautiful circular. So then they withdrew the circular. But now it became a topic on which GST questions are asked in the examination. Correct now? Right? So any tax, don't add. So Sunil said it is a collection by recovery of taxes. Right? So correct. But it is not a tax. It is a collection of tax. Like TDS is a collection of tax. It's not a tax. Right? Okay. So now any tax you have to add. TCS you are not required to add. Correct now? Any tax other than GST. If you add GST and then levy GST on that, then again Excel sheet. Right? Okay. Then liability of the supplier met by the recipient. If I have to supply some goods to you or I have to do some work for you, and as part of the work I have to supply something to you, but you incurred that cost. Let's take an example that I have to install AC at your house. Okay. For that, I only had to supply the stand on which the AC will stand. Correct. But I forgot. Now you had the stand. So you said you use this stand of mine and stand the AC. I cannot stand this example at all. Right? Okay. So now I had agreed for 10,000 for installation of AC, including the stand. Right? But obligation of the supplier met by the recipient by purchasing the stand. So now what I will do? I will charge only 7,000 rupees because stand I have not supplied. GST losses, what was the contract for? Contract was for supply of stand and installation. Pay tax on 10,000 rupees, which is 7,000 plus the expense incurred by the recipient on behalf of the supplier. But to overcome this, very interesting, okay, I will enter into agreement where I say, you buy the stand, I will only install on your stand. Correct? Now, it is not my obligation which you are meeting. It is your condition of the contract which you are meeting. Then the GST is required to be paid only on 7,000 rupees. Correct? No? Okay, right. Next. Yesterday also, sorry, incidental expenses. So I am a chartered accountant. I have to go to PINIA for doing statutory audit for my client. Fees agreed, 1 lakh rupees. Okay. Now to go from Jayanagar to PINIA, lot of travel expenses. Food also I'll have to have outside only. Correct? Because I like eating hot food. When client is there, that is what we'll tell. Otherwise, cold food only I get. Right? Okay. I require hot food only. Right? So now all those costs are incidental. So I will tell my client, 1 lakh is my fee. If I incur any expense to execute your assignment, that is extra. That I incurred some 5 lakh rupees. So I will raise the invoice of 6 lakh rupees on my client. 1 lakh is my fee, 5 lakh is my expense. Okay, or 10,000 is my expense. So 1 lakh 10,000 rupees. Now section 15 says you have to pay GST on 1 lakh and on the 10,000 rupees, which is incidental expenses. Because what a lot of chartered account or anybody started doing is, fees is 10,000, incidental expenses 5 lakh rupees. Okay, to save service tax, they started charging very low fees, huge expenditure. salary of the employee, that is your cost. You have to incur only. What salary of employee will you recover from the client? That is your cost, right? So they started manipulating things. So government said, okay, forget everything. Incidental expense also you are required to pay tax. But if those incidental expenses bear the name of the on the invoice, it is the name of the supply of the recipient, then you are acting as a pure agent. You are not required to pay tax. Example, you are doing MCA filing for a company. You pay 100 rupees. The challan will come in whose name? Your name or company's name? Company's name, correct? That means the company has authorized you to make the payment. What you say? Invoice is also in the name of the company. You are only acting as an agent as far as paying money on behalf of the company, right? In that case, that expense incurred by you is incurred as a pure agent. You are not required to pay GST on the same. Deepa, you are able to follow?
Basically, he cannot be adding it to the value.
No, add it to the invoice. In the invoice, you will have to show separately. Fees for MCA filing, 10,000 rupees. Add MCA expenses, 200 rupees. Add visit to Kormangla, 500 rupees. Visit to Kormangla taxable because AutoCAD will not give invoice in the name of the company. Or Ola will not give the invoice in the name of the company. It will be in my name only. Correct? But 200 rupees, MCA will give the bill in the name of the company only. On the 200 rupees, no need to pay tax.
Yes.
Okay. Then, if I have given goods to my customer and I have told him within 30 days you have to make the payment. He does not make the payment within 30 days. Okay. Then I collect the money from him along with interest or late fee. That also has to be added under section 15 subsection 2. But when do I pay the tax? Time of supply. Time of supply is the day when I realize this interest or penalty. Not before that. Correct? Because even the government knows in India, tax is applicable. 1 second. Na? एक 10 बजे निकलूंगा अरे यार मेरे एक 10 मिनट में हो तो चलेगा हाँ 10 9 बजे सो जाते हैं इसीलिए हाँ 10 मिनट में निकलूंगा right so sorry I did not unmute I did not mute I'm sorry nothing personal so now if some late fee is collected or interest is collected from the customer, that is also liable to GST. Clear? Okay. Subsidy we have already discussed, so I am not repeating it. Okay. Now we go to section 15, subsection 3. I have two types of discount. One is on the bill discount and off the bill discount. So if I tell my customer 1 lakh rupees plus I am giving a discount of 10,000 rupees, so I am charging you 90,000. GST is applicable on 90,000 only because it is a on the bill discount. But if I am giving a quantity discount, that is, if you buy 1 lakh units at the end of the quarter, I will give you 2% discount. If you buy 5 lakh units at the end of the quarter, I will give you 5% discount. On the date when I raise the invoice, I don't know how much quantity you are going to buy. So what I will do, I will raise the invoice. But at the end of the quarter, I will issue a credit note. For increasing the value, debit note. For decreasing the value, credit note. Okay. When I issue the credit note, the value also reduces. Correct? That means I am claiming that back from the government. So on the credit note, I will get a deduction only if the other person reverses the input tax credit. Let's take an example. Okay. I sold something worth 100 rupees to my customer. I paid the tax on 100 rupees, which is 18 rupees. He claimed the input credit of 18 rupees. Now at the end of the quarter, he purchased so many products that I had to give him 10% discount. So I will give him a discount of 10%, which is 10 rupees. And I will tell the government, look, I paid tax on 100, but actually now the value has come down to 90. I've already paid tax of 10 on 10 rupees extra. So from my future liability, I will reduce 1.8 rupees. Correct? Government will say, very good. You want to give the deduction, your discount you give, but your recipient has claimed the credit of 18 rupees. Please ensure that he reverses the credit. Only then you will get the deduction. So condition for issuing credit note is 1, the recipient should reverse the credit. How will you check? Our books only we don't have control. How will we have control over other books? But that is the condition, huh? Right? Second condition, the credit note should be linked to the invoice. You can link one credit note to multiple invoices. See, in one quarter, there might be 100 invoices on which you are giving discount. But on the credit note, it should be linked to the invoice. You don't have to upload in your GST returns that this credit note relates to 100 invoices, but the link should be available. Third, before the sale itself, you should have communicated to your customer that you will give the discount. Otherwise, you give the discount, don't touch the GST. That means at the beginning, before the sale, at the beginning of the year, you should have at least sent an email to them. If you purchase 1 lakh units, 2% discount. If you purchase 5 lakh units, 5% discount. The scheme details have to be given to the customer. Is this clear? And fourth point on credit note, the last date for issuance of credit note is 6 months from the end of the financial year to which the invoice relates to. See, debit note, there is no last date because you're paying extra tax. Credit note, you're claiming a benefit. There is a last date. So if you have raised the invoice between April 23 and March 24, the last date for issuing credit note for that invoice is 30th September 2024. Is this clear? Okay. Now, like I told you last class, that is yesterday, if the question does not say whether the transaction is including tax or excluding tax, then you can assume either ways. But if the transaction is said to be inclusive of tax, then the transaction value will be equal to the total price divided by 1 plus rate multiplied by 100. Rate of tax will be, sorry, GST will be price plus 1 plus divided by 1 plus rate multiplied by rate, cross multiplication basically. Right? Okay. Can we take a break of 5 minutes? So I will do whatever I'm supposed to do and come back. It is 8:35 now. We'll resume the class at 8:40 and we'll go to RCM. Right? Okay.
Yes.
Yes.
Can you start?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Wait for a minute till everybody rejoins. You guys are fine, right? You are able to follow what I am meaning. This is a very crucial time, and you are spending good 3 hours for me. Should add some value, otherwise it's of no use. Harshita, you're sitting in a garden, yeah? Nice.
Yes, sir.
Just some time back, some wind was blowing behind you, and now we've moved to a different location itself. Right, nice. All right, can we start?
Yes,
So
sir.
Yes,
before you is the entire chart for RCM. Okay. Unfortunately, whether you like it or not, you will have to remember everything. And if you see the questions, generally, in your examination, at least 1 or 2 questions are asked. Especially, okay, I'll tell you the categories also which you have to remember. One is on sponsorship services, because their RCM is applicable only when the services are rendered to a body corporate or a partnership firm. When the services are not rendered to a body corporate or a partnership firm, RCM is not applicable, right? So that you will have to remember. Then the next service which is being asked is, if you observe renting of immovable property for residential purposes, it is a residential property. Okay. Now that is a new amendment. So I'm sure the question will be asked, if not in your exam, the next exam. Okay. But it will be asked because that's a recent amendment. So what does that say? R, renting of immovable property, which is for residential purposes, given to a registered person. Okay. Whoever it is, gives it to a registered person, it is liable to tax under reverse charge mechanism. Is this clear? Now there was a confusion for which a circular has been issued. I am a chartered accountant. I have taken a house on rent for my own living. Me and my family is living there. Okay. I am a registered person for the purpose of GST, but that house is being used for my personal purposes. The issue was, I being a chartered accountant who is a registered person, is it liable to GST or not liable to GST? Okay. So they have clarified that when the premises which is residential in nature is used for residential purposes, which is personal purposes of a registered person, then tax is not required to be paid. Okay. So now based on this, what we understand is, if it is renting of immovable property which is commercial in nature, always taxable, forward charge. Always taxable and forward charge. If it is renting of immovable property which is residential property used for commercial purposes, taxable, RCM. I'm sorry. Okay. Renting of immobile property, residential in nature, to a registered person, taxable, RCM. Okay. Renting of immobile property, residential, for residential purposes to other than unregistered person, exempt. Okay. Like you and me, if we are not, if an employee takes a house on rent, not taxable. Residential property used for residential purposes by a registered person, but for his personal use, no need to pay tax on the same. Clear? In our notes, I have given a detailed chart about it. Please have a look at it. Okay, so you will understand this better, but this is the principle behind it. So that second category is important. Then the third category, where they ask a lot of questions, is security and rent a car, rent a cab. See, because both the places the provider is other than body corporate. But if you look at the recipient, in the first category, it is registered person. In the second category, it is body corporate. So in case of car, RCM is applicable only when the services are rendered to a body corporate. If it is rendered by a body corporate to an individual, RCM will not apply. In case of security services, if an individual renders services to another individual who is a RD, RCM will apply. But if the individual renders services to a body corporate who is not registered, RCM will not apply. Here also for all permutation and combination, we had prepared 2 tables in our notes. Please have a look at this. So RCM, I will repeat, please focus on sponsorship, residential property, not government property, residential property, security, and rent-a-car. Very, very important. You have to go through that. Clear? Okay. Also remember certain exemptions which are applicable. Legal services provided to a business entity having turnover less than 20 lakhs in the last year. In the current year, turnover may be 500 crores. But if the last year turnover is less than 20 lakhs, even if it is registered, no need to pay tax under reverse charge mechanism. Government services, turnover less than 20 lakhs in the last year, no need to pay tax in the current year. Government services up to 5,000 rupees, no need to pay tax. Full tension for Deepa. Sir, what is this? So many exemptions. Okay. Then ocean freight. If you don't remember, also not an issue. But there was a very important case law development. As of now, they're not asking case law based question, but you should know this. Okay. If you know it and you can write in the examination, very good. But I'm sure they will not ask this. Okay. What is this ocean freight? Ocean freight, what happens is when I'm moving the goods from outside India to India, I am paying customs duty. Customs duty is applicable on cost plus insurance plus freight. That is called CIF. It's there in CIF final, not to break our heads in interlevel. But what we have to know is tax has to be paid on CIF value. Correct? That means on freight, I've already paid customs duty. Now, government says on ocean freight, you have received the services from a foreign shipper, you are required to pay GST under reverse charge mechanism. Is it not double taxation? So in Mohit Minerals case, this matter went to Supreme Court. Supreme Court said the contracts are of 2 kinds, CIF basis and FOB basis. In a CIF basis, the person who is in Africa has engaged the shipper. He is receiving the service. You are receiving the goods. You are not receiving the services. You are receiving only the goods at CIF basis. No need to pay tax. But on FOB, they were silent, like you are there in the class. They did not discuss anything at all. So that means on FOB, ocean freight under reverse charge can still apply. But if CIF transaction, ocean freight under reverse charge mechanism will not apply. Is this clear? Is it part of notes? It is part of the notes which has been given to you. So don't worry too much. It's there. Somewhere it is there in your head also. Somewhere it is there in the notes also. You have to map both of it. That's all. Okay. Ecom is not relevant, so I'll just skip this. I don't know why this slide is here. This is very important. Okay. My God, so many questions, and I'm so unhappy with the CA Institute because they are asking you to by heart. CA exams is not required for by hearting. Correct? No? What to do? We'll have to ask Shetty sir to become chairman of board of studies and remove all these questions which required by hearting. Because not relevant. Why are they even asking us to, remember so many things which will add no value? I have seen questions where they say, you are in the state of Uttarakhand. Okay. You want to opt for composition scheme. Turnover is 80 lakhs. Are you eligible or not eligible? That is the question which they're asking. So now you have to remember, oh, Uttarakhand, the turnover is 75 lakhs. So if you cross 75 lakhs, composition scheme not applicable to you. Very bad. Very, not at all happy about this. Okay. What to do? Not happy about so many things in life. Can we do anything about it? Nothing. That's all. Okay. So now, the threshold limit for obtaining registration under section 22, we said is 20 lakhs. But the central government said, if you believe that 20 lakhs is very high, you can make it 10 lakhs. See, because in Bangalore, 20 lakhs is a good amount. Okay. But in a smaller city or a small village, 20 lakhs could be a very huge amount. Right? Everybody's turnover is only 19 lakhs. Then nobody will give revenue to the government. Correct? In Bangalore, 20 lakhs might be nothing. But in some other state, 20 or a city, 20 lakhs will be quite a good amount of money. Right? So that's why government said, if you want to reduce it, you can reduce it. So now, after your exam, if you want to go on a holiday, which website will you watch? For holiday, Pradyumna, which website will you use?
Make my trip.
Very good. No, make my trip. Mizoram, Manipur, Tripura. Correct. Somewhere you add N also, MMTN. Okay. So the 10 lakhs limit is applicable, and don't write MMT and Mizoram instead of Mizoram, Maharashtra. You have to remember M is Mizoram only. Don't write Maharashtra there. Okay. So MMTN is Mizoram, Manipur, not Telangana, Tripura, and Nagaland. Is this clear? So they have opted for a turnover of 10 lakhs. All right. Now all the other states have a turnover of 20 lakhs. Is this clear? Central government again said 20 lakhs also might be very small for you. You don't want to, ask the taxpayers to pay tax if their turnover is 20 lakhs. You want to enhance. They said if it is only goods and they are dealing only intrastate supplies and they are not dealing in Pitab, not Julab, Pitab. Okay, in that case, you can enhance the limit to 40 lakhs. So some of the, or actually most of the states enhance the limit to 40 lakhs. Which are those states? All states other than special category states. What do you mean by special category states? Northeast states. Plus Puducherry and Telangana are not special states, but they also did not opt for 40 lakhs limit. So all the special category states plus PT did not opt for 40 lakh limit. Is this clear? Now what is special category state? SAT, Triple M, UN. I have no idea. Okay, SAT, Triple M, UN. Okay, what is SAT? Sikkim, Arunachal Pradesh, Tripura. All those states which you did not remember in your geography class, no? That my dear India has 6 heavenly sisters. Some abbreviation was there like that in geography. Correct? So those 6 states which you didn't remember, no, those 6 states will come and haunt you. Right? Sikkim, Arunachal Pradesh, Tripura, Mizoram, Manipur, Meghalaya, Uttarakhand, Nagaland, plus Puducherry and Telangana. Correct? For them, 40 lakhs limit is not applicable. All right. Then for composition scheme, the turnover was kept as 1.5 crores. But they said if you want to reduce it, you can reduce it to 75 lakhs. So these special category states opted for 75 lakh rupees. Okay, that was under 10.1 and 10.2. They are asking questions on 10.1 and 10.2 also. 10.1 and 10.2 is regular composition scheme where the rate of tax is 1% and 5%. 10.2A is a special composition scheme where the threshold limit is 50 lakhs. For that 50 lakhs, it is 50 lakhs for all the states. There, Harshita, there is 1% for manufacturer, 1% for trader, 5% for restaurant owner. Anybody not eligible for 1 and 2 can go under 10.2A and pay tax rate of 6%. There, what is the limit? 50 lakhs is the limit. All right. So regular composition 1.5 crores. Special category state 75 lakhs. Special composition scheme 50 lakhs for all the states. Is this clear? You have to take a print of this page. RCM page also take a print. And wherever you are sleeping, no, above that you put this. So as soon as you open your eyes, you can see this. Nowhere else. Is this clear? At night, if you get up also, you have to put it there so that if there is a nightmare, you can tell that nightmare it is not worse than what I have to read. Right? Okay. Then exemptions, few of the exemptions are very, very important. Okay, we cannot go through all the exemptions. I have been telling you even in the regular class. But few exemptions, they keep asking repeated questions. So 1 or 2 exemptions I wanted to cover. All right. So what are those 1 or 2 exemptions? Actually, 1 only. But in that 1, there are 5 exemptions. So there are 1 or 2 exemptions which I'm covering. Okay, this is very important because almost all the RTPs and exam question papers I've seen the exemption here. Okay. So now services provided by school to its students, staff or teachers is exempt. Services provided to school. See, 1 is services provided by school. Okay, they are providing the service is exempt. Services provided to school is also exempt. But schools are 3 types. Sorry, educational institutions are of 3 types. What are those? Up to 12th standard. Beyond 12th standard, if it leads to issuance of a degree recognized by law, and vocational courses. What is this vocational courses? ITI, Deen Dayal Upadhyay, some Yojana, Gandhiji Yojana. No disrespect, but that is the name of all those schemes. Okay, these are all vocational courses. Okay, so now when the educational institution provides 1, 2, 3 category, then there are some exemptions available to them when they receive the services. What are the exemptions? If you observe, transportation of students, staff, faculty, applicable only for schools, educational institution up to 12th standard. For colleges and vocational courses, that exemption is not applicable. Correct? Catering, including midday meal. Security, cleaning, housekeeping services performed in this educational institution. Okay, only then exemption is available. One beautiful question somebody asked. So security is outside, no sir? Okay, forget it. During revision class, we will not discuss all this. Okay, but the services have to be given within or in the presence of the educational institution. Only then exemption is available. If housekeeping is given at a choultry where the fest of the college was conducted, exemption is not available. Is this clear? Because it should be within for security, outside. Otherwise, it is not security. Right? Okay. For all these 3 categories of exemption is applicable only for school up to 12th standard. Clear? Okay. Supply of online education journals and periodicals. Exemption is applicable only to degree because government believes that online educational journals will be subscribed only by colleges. Why are schools subscribing to these educational journals? Okay, so they have given exemption only to education leading to a degree. Services relating to conducting an examination or admission test, etc. Like Kumarans. Okay, if you see, they have shifted their entire platform to Udemy or some other platform. Okay, so the entire application process, examination, test, everything is conducted by that platform. So when they charge, say, 5,000 rupees per student to Kumarans, okay, Kumarans is receiving the services. So whether it is up to 12th standard or Kumarans has a college also, or Kumarans is giving vocational courses also, for all the categories, this exemption is available. So only admission or conducting of an examination, all the institutions get an exemption. The first 3 categories only up to 12th standard. The last category only beyond 12th standard, but not to vocational courses. Please remember this. Lot of questions are asked on this. I can tell you few exemptions which are mandatory, which are commonly asked. Okay, this is one. Second, brand ambassador for a performing artist who performs 1 lakh up to 1,50,000 is exempt. But if he acts as a brand ambassador, then exemption is not available. Correct? That is second exemption. Hospital, educational institution, they'll keep asking. Charitable institutions, they keep asking a lot of questions on them. Okay, so and wherever there are numbers, 7,500 rupees, old age home up to 25,000 rupees. Okay, hotel rooms up to 1,000 rupees. Charitable institutions giving Kalyana Mandapam, which is premise, which is within the precincts of the temple, up to 10,000 rupees, or shop up to 1,000 rupees. All these, 10,000 rupees per month. Kalyana Mandap is 10,000 per day. Shops is 10,000 per month. Rooms are 1,000 rupees per month. So wherever these numbers are there now, they will ask question. They will say room rent 950 rupees. Check whether exemption is available or not. Room rent 1,002 rupees. Exemption is available or not. So wherever there are numbers, or wherever there are multiple services to a particular person, where one exemption is there, other exemption, basically all those exemptions which will not be able to remember, then on that they will ask questions. Clear? I'm just seeing what all are very, very important, which I will quickly cover. Okay. Other topics, composition, we have done in detail. I don't want to cover those. Revocation, I have already covered. E-way bill. Okay. E-way bill, sometimes 5 marks questions are asked. Okay. Now, what do you mean by a e-way bill? E-way bill is a confirmation that you are moving goods to a motorized vehicle and the value of the goods is more than 50,000 rupees. So that means if you are moving goods more than 50,000 rupees through a motorized vehicle, you will have to log into another website, www.ewaybill.nic.in, and generate a e-way bill. What is a e-way bill? Whatever details are there on your invoice, same details you have to put it in part A of the e-way bill. Okay. And then you have to give the vehicle number. The moment you give the vehicle number, that e-way bill gets validated. E-way bill has got two parts, part A, part B. Part A has all the details of the goods which you are sending. Okay, part B has the vehicle number. The moment you put the vehicle number, that means the goods are ready to be transported. Okay, now when you transport the goods should carry invoice. Along with the invoice, there should be a e-way bill, provided the value of the goods is more than 50,000 and it is moving through a motorized vehicle. Clear? So if your staff is taking one laptop, walking across the street and going to deliver it to your customer, because customer is just stone's throw away, then e-way bill is not required because it is not through a motorized vehicle. Clear? If the value is 30,000 rupees, e-way bill is not required, because when is e-way bill required? When the value is more than 50,000.
50,000.
Correct? No? Right. Okay. If you don't file your returns, e-way bill will be blocked. Meaning, you cannot generate the e-way bill, but the person who is sending goods to you, he can generate e-way bill. So any other person can generate e-way bill using your GST number, but you will not be able to generate the e-way bill. Right? Now I'm taking only those points for which repeated questions are being asked. Okay. Now, next, what is the validity of the e-way bill? That's a very interesting mechanism. Okay. So assuming you are generating an e-way bill today. Okay. What is the date today? Today is 16th or 17th?
16th.
So you are raising a e-way bill on 16th of March 2023. Okay. When you generate the e-way bill, you have to give your own PIN code from where goods are moving and the customer's PIN code. Okay. Where the goods are going. So now based on Google Map, they will find out what is the distance between two PIN codes. So assuming the distance comes to 500 kilometers, right? So now what they will do is, the day when you generated the e-way bill will be excluded. So today, whether you generated 2 o'clock in the morning or 8 p.m. in the night, it does not make a difference. Today's day is excluded. For every 200 kilometers or part thereof, you will get 1 day for e-way bill. Okay, so you generate on 16 goes 17th and 18th, 200 kilometers. Okay, 19th, there was 500 kilometers. So 19th, 100 kilometers. So they will not say half day. They will say full day only. Part thereof also you will get full day. So now this e-way bill will expire on 16th, you forgot, 17th, 18th, 19th, midnight of 19th, this e-way bill will expire. If you're caught with the e-way bill at 12:01 a.m. and the goods are still in movement, that means you are contravening the provisions of the GST law, penalty can be levied on you. You are able to follow? If you are carrying goods using an expired e-way bill, then penalty can be levied on you, which will be equal to 200% of the tax. That means if you are carrying 1 lakh worth of goods, the penalty will be 36,000 rupees only. Clear? So be very careful. Papa Harshita is in shock even now. What is this? How I wished my marks also would have been doubled like this. Only penalty is getting doubled. Okay. So if you don't follow e-way bill regulations, the penalty is 2 times Anaga, the tax which you are required to pay. Correct? Now sometimes you are moving the goods not for sale. That means there is no invoice. You are moving it because there is a customer who might purchase the goods, that is sale of goods on approval, or you might send it for job work. Then there is no invoice. Then you have to send the goods using a delivery challan. So part A of the e-way bill will be based on delivery challan and part B will be vehicle number. Is this clear? So if the goods are moving because of a supply, then invoice and e-way bill. If the goods are moving other than by way of a supply, then delivery challan and e-way bill has to be accompanied with the goods. Is this clear? Next, you have a concept of e-invoicing. Your RTP says, for your exam, the turnover which is required to be considered is 20 crores and not 10 crores. During our regular class, I told 10 crores because the amendment had taken place, but your RTP suggests that it is 20 crores, not RTP, the statutory amendments booklet. So I've changed it to 20 crores. Okay. So now what is an e-invoice? E-invoice is nothing but entire data on your invoice. You have to go and put it on a new website, www.einvoice1.nic.in. Okay, it will give you a 64-digit number and a QR code. It will give you a 64-digit number and a QR code. That is called e-invoice. That e-invoice has to be done for invoice, for debit note, for credit note. Basically, all documents which has an impact of tax. Clear? E-invoice is applicable only if from 17-18 to till now, any of the previous financial years, your turnover has crossed 20 crores. Then from this year, you have to start raising invoices electronically. This is applicable only for B2B supplies and not for B2C supplies. Okay. And the following categories which I have listed down, like if you're a SEZ unit, you have insurance, banking, financial institution or NBFC, GTA, supplier of passenger goods or services, admission to theaters in a multiplex, or you are a government authority, then e-invoicing is not applicable. What if you don't generate e-invoice? Then you will be liable to a penalty which is as high as 50,000 rupees, and your recipient will not be able to claim input tax credit. So the penalty is on your recipient that he has not got a proper invoice, and credit can be claimed only on a proper invoice because you did not generate a proper invoice because it does not have any invoice. Your recipient will be denied the input tax credit. Clear? Then quickly delayed payment. All this you please read on your own. All this I've covered partly. Penalty, what will I discuss? You have to by heart only, nothing else. Okay. See, this last point now is very, very important. Oh, where did it go? Last point. Somewhere it has gone. Wait. That last point is very, very important. Computation of interest under. Okay, forget it. Now, computation of interest. 1 second. I will just hide sharing. Give me a second. Okay. So now, computation of interest is very, very important. Okay, because that was recently amended, fresh amendment that is. Okay, so definitely question will be asked. So there are two sections, okay, which you have to remember. Section 50 subsection 1 Priyanka and 50 subsection 3. Okay, 50 subsection 1 is applicable if you don't pay the output tax on time. 50 subsection 3 is applicable if you claim any incorrect input tax credit. I will repeat again. 50 subsection 1 is applicable if you don't pay output tax. 50 subsection 3 skanda will be applicable when you claim the wrong input tax credit. So if you have claimed credit on car, which you are not supposed to claim, okay, what is the section which will apply?
50 subsection 3.
50 subsection 3.
Section 3.
Okay. I have sold goods to Chaitra, but I have not paid tax. Which section will apply?
50 subsection 1.
50 subsection 1.
Section.
Now, it is not so simple. They should not make life so simple, no. So they have complicated our life schedule. What have they said? Very simple. March return, I have to file by, when I have to pay tax, that means I'm talking about 3B. So March return, I will file by 20th of April. GST 3B, I will file by 20th of April. Agreed? Not agreed?
Yes, sir.
And there I can pay tax by utilizing input tax credit and by paying by cash, discharge by cash. So assuming my output is 1 lakh, but input credit is 75,000, 25,000 I'll discharge by cash. Okay. So now what they say is, March you had 1 lakh liability. You had to pay the tax by 20th of April. You paid the tax by input credit and by payment of cash. There is no delay in payment of tax. No need to pay interest. Correct? No need to pay interest. But March return, you filed on 21st April. When were you supposed to file? By 20th of April. You have delayed by 1 day. You are required to pay interest. But how much is the interest? Interest is required to be paid only to the extent of the cash liability. How much is the cash liability in our example? 1 lakh was the output tax, 75,000 was paid by credit, 25,000 was paid by cash.
25,000.
So you are required to pay interest only on how much value? 25,000
25,000.
into 18% into 1 divided by 365. Is this clear? Okay. But assuming March return you filed on time, but you did not report the March liability in March return. You filed a 0 return. Okay. Now you filed the March return in March invoices in April. Okay. Now it is not the question of delay in filing returns. It is not delay in filing returns. It is delay in reporting the liability. April returns when you file by 20th of May to the extent of March liability, which is 1 lakh, whether paid by credit, whether paid by cash, on the entire liability, you will have to pay interest, which will be 1 lakh into 18% multiplied by 1 divided by 12 or 30 divided by 365. Is this clear? Make sense? Doesn't make sense, but from a provision perspective, have you followed? Very good. Nice. Third situation which we are talking about is 50 subsection 3. Okay. You claim the credit on car. You should not have claimed. Okay. You claim the credit on car, which was 1 lakh rupees. In the month of April, you claimed. In the month of September, you realize that your accountant has claimed the credit on car, which you should not have claimed. So you're reversing that credit in September. But for all the months from April to September, your input tax credit balance was more than 1 lakh. Did the government lose anything when you avail the credit? When you utilize the credit, government has got tax from an incorrect credit. But if you have excess balance, government has not lost anything. So there they say, if you have availed any credit incorrectly, which you are reversing, and your electronic credit ledger had a balance more than the credit which you are required to reverse, no need to pay interest. Okay. But now, in the month of April, you claim the credit of 1 lakh. Same month you utilized it. Your credit balance is 0. Okay. And you realized in the month of September that you have availed a wrong credit and you're reversing that in September. For 6 months, you have to pay interest. Okay. Third situation. I availed the credit in the month of April. In the month of June, I utilized my credit balance reduced to 0. Then from June to September, I'm required to pay interest. So till my balance does not reduce below 1 lakh, I'm not required to pay interest. Fourth situation, okay, in this input reversal only. My credit which I've claimed wrongly is 1 lakh. In the month of August, it became 50,000. And in the month of September also, it was 50,000 only. I have to pay interest only on the 50,000 which has been utilized, because only that amount of money government has lost. Can I do one thing? Instead of wasting your precious time in writing down all these examples, can I give this example to our friend Chinmay, who can share these examples with you, and that I will do it tomorrow itself.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So then
Yes,
you
sir.
will have
Yes,
all
sir.
these examples ready with you. 50 subsection 1, 50 subsection 3, 100% question will be asked. When, I don't know, but it will be asked. Clear? Okay, I'm not an astrologer, so I don't know, but this is a new topic. So amendments, amendment related questions definitely are asked. So please focus on that. We have good half an hour now. We will go to RTP, solve some questions, go to November 22 question paper also, and get a feel of the kind of questions are being asked. If you're not able to answer, don't worry. I'm telling you, don't worry. You have to write the exam. You have no other option. Please prepare, write the exam. It will be easy. Clear? There are going to, see, even in cricket, no, one bouncer is allowed per over. Correct? You have to face it. You don't have to score in that. Next ball, which is easy, you score. Correct? So please don't get scared. Whenever we discuss question paper, no, trust me, I also get scared, because the kind of questions they're asking is definitely a doubt of a member which he is not able to find answer in his office. 100% if you look at the question. So don't get worked up when you see a question and say, just now we discussed and we don't know the answer. Don't worry. try solving as many question papers as possible, especially in income tax and GST. Because in accounts, we learn based on solving. In GST, all the questions we have to understand, only then we can solve. By that time, syllabus only over. Right? 3 or 4 questions you solve, you will get the confidence. Clear? We will solve, don't worry. In today's 30 minutes class, we will solve few questions. Right? Whether you get the correct answer, you don't get the correct answer, don't bother. Right? The idea is to make ourselves used to the kind of questions which might be asked in the examination. Individually, you know the answer. RCM, here body corporate, there no body corporate, here this is the. When it is asked with 10 different adjustments, full tension in life. Don't do that. Aram say you will be able to solve each and everything. Right? Okay. Yeah, Anjana, you want to ask something.
Sir, one small doubt I had. So in many places, like there are like transportation of goods, transport agency and all, no, sir. But in one place where they have notified that interstate conveyance is neither goods nor services, no, sir.
Yeah, so that is one circular which has been issued, which I have not covered actually, even in our regular classes, because one time that question was asked in a RTP, but that's actually very confusing. So what they are trying to say is, if you have a branch in Bangalore and you have an office in Chennai, when you move the goods from Bangalore to Chennai, you're required to pay tax. But that circular says, when you're moving the goods from your own conveyance, okay, which is your vehicle, to Chennai, goods which you have transported liable to GST. But when the conveyance is being moved, it is not liable to GST. But the condition is it should be your own conveyance which you are giving to your branch. Clear?
Yes, sir. So it should be our own vehicle which we are using to transport our own
goods. No, it can be for transportation of goods or it can be for another. See, like I have a crane. Okay, in project in Bangalore got closed. So I have to move that crane, which is a conveyance, to another state. So I'm not moving goods. I'm still moving a conveyance only. But as long as it is my conveyance going to my own branch in another state, it will not be liable to GST, whether with goods or without goods.
Yes, sir. And one more doubt was there. This tenancy rights one thing is there, no, sir. So in that, only if the tenancy right is transferred for consideration, it is service, no, sir.
Okay. So again, that is based on a circular. Let's discuss what is a tenancy right. Okay. Now this is prevalent in Mumbai and few parts of Bangalore I have seen. Okay. In Mumbai, it is definitely there. So what will happen? I have entered into an agreement with the landlord 100 years back. When I say I am not 100-year-old. My great-grandfather has entered into an agreement with the landlord for taking a property on rent for 50 years, 100 years, 150 years. Now, when the contract of rent is entered for such a long period, there is something called as a tenancy rights. Under the tenancy rights, if the tenant is using the property for such a long time, the landlord cannot tomorrow come and say, vacate the property. Okay. The tenant gets a tenancy right. That means he has a right over that property to not vacate it or vacate it whenever he wants to. Now imagine 100 years back, what is the rent we would have agreed? 5 rupees, 5 annas, 10 rupees, 20 rupees, 50 rupees. Correct? No, that is the rent we would have agreed. But today, if I vacate that premise and somebody else comes, that will be in lakhs or crores if it is a huge property. Now that right is with me as a tenant. Okay. So what I will do is, if I'm moving out and ensuring that I get another tenant, I will tell either the landlord or I will tell either the tenant that, look, my tenancy period is 150 years. Okay. I have used only 100 years. Another 50 years you can enjoy. You pay rent to the landlord 100 rupees. But because I'm giving something to you at a premium, you give me 50 lakh rupees today. That is called a tenancy right, or it is also called as a pagdi. Pagdi in English comes to goodwill. Okay, in Hindi it is called pagdi. In English it is called goodwill. So if any of you has a shop in this paid areas and anybody wants to buy a shop, there is no concept of buying. Nobody can buy those shops because the per square feet rate itself will be 200-300 rupees. Okay, but for one tile on which we can place a leg, it will be 200-300 rupees. So it will go on pagdi system or a goodwill system. Okay, so there the tenancy right or pagdi or goodwill, the question was whether it is liable to GST or not. In Maharashtra, it is said that you are paying stamp duty on this pagdi because it's a transaction in immovable property. So the argument was, because I'm paying stamp duty, it is not liable to GST. So a circular was issued saying whether you pay stamp duty or not, it is a right in the land. Only sale of land is exempt. Any other right is taxable. So pagdi is also taxable. But when this pagdi is for a residential property, the end use is exempt. So even the pagdi for a residential property will be exempt. So pagdi for a commercial property, taxable. Pagdi for a residential property, exempt. Yeah. Now the permutation combination will be who will pay the pagdi and who will receive the pagdi. Sometimes I will have an arrangement with the landlord that I will collect 1 lakh rupees from the 50 lakh rupees from the tenant. Entire 50 lakhs I will keep, or I will keep 30 lakhs and give 20 lakhs to the landowner. Whoever receives how much ever pagdi, they will have to pay GST on that much amount of money. That is the sum and substance of that circular. Clear?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Okay. Any other circular which we have missed? So many. Right? Okay. Anything else you want to discuss? Okay. Then we will go to 1 second now. You're able to see the screen?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
There's revision test papers. Quickly we'll go through that, okay? Manavta Trust is a charitable trust registered under section 12AB of the Income Tax Act. That means 100% exemption question. Because in exemption only, you should be registered at 12AA, you have to register at 12AB, 10, what is that? Section 10, 2A, all those sections are there. Okay. The trust is well known for its educational, charitable, and religious activities. The trust became liable to registration under GST in the current year since it exceeded the threshold limit for registration and thus got itself registered in the state of Gujarat in the month of May. In the month of June, a multinational company, Dhruv Tara Limited, gifted 500 laptops worth 50 lakhs to the trust free of cost for the charitable purposes without any intention of seeking any business promotion from them. That means it is not liable to tax. Correct? It is not in consideration for a return. So it is not an output tax as far as trust is concerned. Okay. Manavta Trust distributed these laptops for free in the same month to the needy students for facilitating them in their higher studies. Again, no tax implication because everything has been given free of cost. Okay. Manavta Trust owns a higher secondary school. Our antenna should go to 12 of 2017. Higher secondary school. First 3 exemptions available to higher secondary, 4th applicable to everyone, 5th not applicable to higher secondary. Correct now? Okay. Right. Manavta Higher Secondary School in Gujarat. In the month of July, the trust availed security personal services. Very good. From Perfect Security Solutions, Gujarat, a sole proprietor. We are not bothered whether it's sole proprietor, not a sole proprietor, whether we are body corporate, registered person, nothing. Even if it is liable to tax under RCM, as long as the security is provided to the premises, it is liable to RCM but exempt from tax. Correct? No? Right? Liable to, but what is the rate? I have to go to 11 or 12. 12 sales is exempt. So what will be the rate? 0. Okay. Same month to the needy, okay, for security of the school premises for the consideration of 2 lakh. It also received legal consultancy services from Maya and Co, a firm of advocates for issues relating to the said school for 1,20,000 in the same month. My last year turnover below threshold limit. Only the current year I have obtained registration because I crossed the threshold limit. That means my last year turnover less than 20 lakhs. That means what? What does that mean? That means on legal services, I am not going to pay tax under reverse charge mechanism. Agreed? Not agreed?
Agreed.
Okay. Very nice. Next. Then Manavta Trust furnished the following information regarding the expenses incurred by it in the month of August. All transactions being interstate, that means it will be IGST only if they have to pay tax. Correct? No? Okay. Services used, received, and used for supplying taxable outward supply 3,50,000. That means on 3,50,000 they will get the input tax credit used for taxable purpose only. Correct? Into 18% under IGST they will get the credit. Catering services received for students of Manavta Higher Secondary School, they should not charge tax, and even if they charge tax, I will not get input credit because used for exempt purposes. Buses purchased with sitting capacity of 25%, including driver, 10,50,000. Buses were delivered in the first week of September. We are looking at the transaction for the month of August. Goods received in September. So, no credit. Second, buses will be used for transportation of school kids. Again, output is exempt. So, anyways, there also no credit. Clear? On both the reasons, credit will not be applicable. Manavta Trust provided the following information in respect of services provided by it during the month of August. It runs an old age home for senior citizens. Nominal monthly charge of 15,000. What is the exemption up to? 25,000. Nobody remembers, but 25,000 is the exemption limit for old age homes. But what are they collecting? 15,000. So exemption is available or not available?
Available.
Available.
One second now. Scrolling is a little slow. I don't know why. Okay. It rents out the community hall within the precincts of the temple managed by it on 15th August for a religious function, in the first half for 5,000 and art exhibition second half 6,000. My God, this is a difficult adjustment. Huh? Exemption is applicable only if the premises is let out for up to 10,000 per day. This is 11,000.
11,000.
So it is taxable. Huh?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
But a difficult question, huh? Because I would look at it two different events. For every event, they should give 10,000. But again, the exemption is not clear. It does not say per event. It says per day less than 10,000. So this is per day more than 10,000. So full amount taxable. Okay. It rents out the room in the presence of the said temple to the devotees for a rent of 950 per room per day. Up to 1,000 rupees is exempt. So no need to pay tax. Yes. All the figures given above are exclusive of taxes. Okay. Aggregate turnover of Manavta Trust for the preceding financial year 15 lakhs. All the conditions necessary for availment of ITC are fulfilled subject to the information given. Manavta Trust intends to avail exemption from GST wherever applicable. Based on the information given above, choose the most appropriate answer to the following questions. Okay, let's look at the question. Which of the following, one second, it's very slow, I don't know why. Which of the following activities of Manavta Trust does not amount to be supply under the GST law? What is your answer?
A.
Laptop.
A is not a supply. See, B might be exempt. D might be exempt, but these are supply. The question is, what is not a supply? So, free distribution is supply in the course of business, but there is no consideration. So, it does not satisfy 7(1)(a), all the conditions of 7(1)(a). That means it is not a supply. So, answer should be A. A. Compute the value of inward supplies on which tax is payable by Manavta Trust under RCM for the month of July, not August or September. Nil. Security and legal, both we said not applicable. Correct? So answer should be B, nil. Third, compute the value of exempt supply made by Manavta Trust for the month of August. That we'll have to look at the question. What is exempt here? This 15,000 into 20 is exempt?
Yes, sir.
Then second is taxable, we said, and 35,000 is exempt. So 15.
3,35,000.
3,35,000.
35,000.
So our answer should be 3,35,000.
Option
Wow,
C.
available 3. Very nice. If you add all the three, you are not getting the answer. That means that answer was wrong. Perfect, very good. If you add that 11,000, option only is not there. So question only is saying that 11,000 rupees, don't apply too much of rate. It is not exempt. Correct? Compute the value of taxable supply made by Manavta Trust for the month of August. That is what we, okay, taxable supply. Okay, whatever is left over. What is it? 11,000.
11,000.
What question? Okay, now determine the, see this, if you read 3 and 4 carefully, you will get the answer. Because 3,11,000, nil and 35,000. That means the permutation can be 3,35,000 only. Anything else cannot be a permutation if you apply logic elimination method. So, okay. Forget that. In 3 hours, we'll not get that much amount of logic. We'll keep checking. Hey, what is the answer, A or B? That's what we'll ask. Correct? No? Okay. Determine the amount of ITC that can be credited to the electronic credit ledger in the month of August, assuming rate of GST at 18%. Only that one transaction, no? And that also if it is in the month of August. What is that? Yeah, services received 3,50,000. 3,50,000 into 18%. How much is that?
63,000.
It's there. It's there in the option, fifth one. So answer is
B.
B.
I'm sorry, B. Okay. Now we go to question number 6. Mr. Prithviraj, registered under GST, is engaged in supplying services in Maharashtra. He has furnished the following information with respect to the services provided or received during the month of February. Okay, let's look at it one by one. Carnatic music performance. It is art or cultural performance given by Mr. Prithviraj to promote a brand of ready-made garments. Even if it is less than 1,50,000, it is taxable. Correct? Up to 1,50,000, not for promotion. It has to be art performance. If it is brand ambassador, 1,40,000 taxable. Outdoor catering services. My God, he is giving food also. What is it? Outdoor catering services availed for a marketing event organized for his prospective customers. Outdoor catering 17.5. No input tax rate unless he is doing event management. But here it says for organizing for prospective customers. So it is not for a outward supply. Correct? So you will not get input tax credit of the same. Services of transportation of students provided to Subhaskar College. Subhaskar College, transportation service exempt or taxable?
Taxable.
Taxable. Correct? As part of the curriculum for obtaining recognized whatever, it is taxable. Exemption not available. Okay. Legal services availed for official purposes from an advocate located in Gujarat. 1,75,000. Taxable under RC.
Taxable.
The business entity. Okay. Services provided to Wealth Bank as the business correspondent with respect to accounts. What is here? Carnatic music, transportation services. My God. Okay. Services provided to Wealth Bank as a business correspondent with respect to accounts in a branch of a bank located in urban area. See, there is one catch here, one RCM which we have not discussed. When an agent of a business correspondent renders services to a business correspondent, it is liable to tax under RCM. But when a business correspondent renders the services to the bank, that is not under RCM. So RCM comes into picture when there is an agent involved. Here he is not an agent, he is a business correspondent. So remember 3 agents. Agent of business correspondent, insurance agent, correct? And then you had recovery agent. In all the 3, tax is applicable under RCM. Here he is only business correspondent. He is not an agent. So RCM will not apply. He only has to pay tax under forward charge. Okay. Recovery agent's service provided to a car dealer. Recovery agent providing services to a bank is liable to tax under RCM. He is not.
RCM.
What kind of questions they're asking? See. Now, if you would have remembered, okay, agent, everything is RCM. Next point gone. Okay, recovery agent to bank only is RCM. Recovery agent services provided to a car dealer liable to tax under forward charge. General insurance taken on car, no credit will be available. Is this clear? So basically, he is not going to get any credit. Only legal services where he will pay tax under reverse charge mechanism, he can claim the input tax credit. And there is no exemption also. All his turnover is taxable. So he will pay tax on 1,40,000 plus 1 lakh plus 2 lakh plus 15,000. On all of it, depending on whether it is interstate or interstate, he will pay tax. He will also pay tax on legal services, but will be allowed as an input tax credit. So his cash liability to that extent will reduce. Let's see the answer. Okay, answer is not there. Huh? It will be the answer.
Scroll
Okay,
down.
okay, only 4 questions are there, and then we will scroll down. Okay. Determine whether GST is payable in each of the following independent transactions. Dhruv developers sold a plot of land in Greater Noida after leveling, laying down of drainage pipes, water lines, and electricity. It is sale of
Not
land,
paid.
and so it is not liable to tax. Deccan Shipping Private Limited, registered under GST in Andaman and Nicobar, provided passenger transport services to local residents in ferries owned by it from Neil Island to Havelock Island. If you remember, this we had discussed. If it is for local residents, exemption is available. If it is for tourism purposes, exemption is not available. Correct? So here exemption will be available. Then state the person who will be liable to pay tax in the following independent services. Siddhi Builders, registered in Haryana, rented out 20 residential units owned by it in Sanskriti Society to Rudra Technologies, an IT-based firm registered in the state of Haryana for accommodation of employees. Renting of residential property for residential purposes to a registered person, liable to tax under reverse charge mechanism. Only exception is I have to take it in the individual capacity. Only then it is exempt. Correct? But if the company takes, it cannot be for individual purpose. It will be liable to tax. Messrs. Purohit Consultant, a partnership firm registered in Delhi as a regular taxpayer, paid sponsorship fee rupees 70,000 at a seminar organized by a private NGO, a partnership firm in Delhi. Not liable under RCM because sponsorship has to be paid by body corporate or partnership firm. The provider should not be partnership firm. The recipient should be a partnership firm or a body corporate. So RCM is not applicable. See, look at the cunning way in which the questions are being asked. Correct? No? Right. Briefly enumerate the contraventions which make a registered person liable to cancellation of registration as prescribed under Rule 21. Now, when can the registration be cancelled? It can be cancelled if you don't file the returns, if you engage in any activity which is not in line with the GST law, or if you have claimed any exemption, like your turnover is 40 lakhs, but you have claimed exemption within 20 lakhs, okay, 20 of 25 lakhs, and you have paid tax only on 15 lakhs, or you are engaged in any invoices for which there is no supply, but you are transferring the input tax credit. So basically, these evasions or these fraudulent activities will lead to cancellation of your registration. Okay. Next, state the order in which every taxable person discharges his tax under section 49. Okay, this we have not covered because I told you payment of tax. Please read the chapter on your own. Now, how do you pay the taxes? First, if you have any liability of last month or previous months, first you have to pay that. Then if you have any liability of the current month, that you have to pay. Then after that, if there is any late fee, penalty, or any other liability, that you have to pay. So first clear your old dues, then clear your present dues, then after that, if anything is left over, clear those dues. Clear? Okay. With that, we finish RTP. If you are okay, we will discuss at least 1 or 2 questions from May examination. Is that okay? We have time now.
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
Yes,
at least
sir.
1 or 2 questions we'll discuss. Important ones, okay? When I saw this DCA, Del Creditor Agent, there only I stopped. Said, my God, they're asking questions on Del Creditor Agent also. Okay. We'll at least try to answer 2-3 questions, okay? Ajay Limited, a registered person in Patna, is engaged in various supplies. So where is he located? Patna, Bihar. Okay. The company provided the following details for the month of January. So we are required to compute the tax liability or input tax rate only for the month of January. Please remember which state the person is in and which month we are talking about. Because any other state will become interstate supply. Any other month will be not relevant for us. Correct? No? Okay. Now Ajay Limited, that means it is a body corporate. That also you have to remember. That means almost all the cases RCM will be applicable. Right? Okay. Outward supply of goods made during the month to various non-related parties. Market value, transaction value. I am not bothered about market value because when I am dealing with unrelated parties, transaction value will be considered. Correct now? So now in the state of Bihar, 4 lakh, to other states, forget 2 lakh rupees, I am required to pay tax on 1 lakh rupees only. Correct? So on 4 lakh CGST, SGST, on 1 lakh rupees, IGST will be applicable. Correct now? Right? Okay. Next, services provided to state government of Karnataka for conducting a computer training program for its employees. Total expenditure incurred for the said program was 90,000, of which 60,000 was borne by state government. See, there are 2-3 aspects here. What is the output supply? 5 lakh rupees. It is not 90,000 and 63,000. Correct? Second, 63,000 borne by the state government is a subsidy given by the state government, not to be added. Correct? Expenses of the recipient borne by the supplier, or of the supplier borne by the recipient, not to be added because it's a state government. Third, one very important condition, which is a hidden condition in exemption notification, is that if at least 75% of the expenditure is incurred by the state government, that service becomes exempt. Here, 63 divided by 90 will not be 75%. So that also will not be
70%.
those all. It's very difficult to remember these exemptions. Okay, right. Third, stock transfer. So basically, then tax applicable will be on 5 lakh rupees. Okay, and because he's in Patna and rendering services to government of Karnataka, it will be a IGST transaction. Correct. Next, stock transfer without consideration to its branch at Gaya, Bihar. Bihar to Bihar, not taxable because it is same state, no? So it will not be taxable. Oh, okay. Sorry. Branch has a separate GST. So separate
Yes,
GST will become distinct person for the convenience of accounting and billing. Value under section 15 was 20,000. So on 20,000 also I have to pay GST, which is CGST and SGST. Okay. Intrastate inward supplies of various services for use in the course or furtherance of business. Totally 30 invoices for which the value was 6,50,000 rupees. Okay. Additional, all the amounts are exclusive of taxes. They have already given. During course of arranging and filing documents, the accountant of Ajay Limited observed that an invoice for 30,000, including tax, dated 2nd of December 2021. Which year are we in this problem? January 22. Jan 22. That means 1 month before. Okay, 2nd December 2021 was omitted to be recorded in the books of the month, and no payment was made against the same till the end of January 2022. This invoice was issued by Mr. Mukesh of Patna, from whom Ajay Limited had taken the cars on rental basis. Invoice included cost of fuel, transportation services, liable to tax under reverse charge mechanism. Yes. Correct? But now you remember our discussion, okay, that whether he is giving the vehicle for transportation of passengers or it is hiring of vehicle. Because reverse charge mechanism is applicable only for passenger transport service, not hiring of vehicles. It does not say anything. So now you can make an assumption here that the vehicles are taken on rent, but the service is not for passenger transport, and hence it will not be liable to tax under RCA. Or you can make an assumption that it is assumed that it is passenger transport services, and so it is liable to tax under reverse charge mechanism. If it is not passenger transport services, then RCM will not apply. Both the assumptions you give, the answer, that means you know the answer, but the question is not complete according to you, so you're giving a particular treatment. Clear? According to me, if the cost of fuel is additionally added, means it is vehicle given on hire. It is not passenger transport services. Okay, so that means it will not be liable to tax under reverse charge. That means the person only has to charge the tax. Clear? And that is my assumption. Okay, if I were writing the exam, but you are free to write whatever assumption, because question is not complete. How will you know what is the contract for? Correct?
Sir, sir,
And see here, just see that car rental services. It is not vehicle transport services what they are giving. Correct, no? Yeah, somebody had a doubt.
no, sir. If they are telling that rental services,
Hmm.
rental basis,
Hmm.
will that if we assume that it is higher charges, then will it not contradict each other?
Renting, hiring, leasing, all three are either ways.
So directly we can assume it as
Correct. Not liable. But assumption, I would think you should write a note there.
okay. Sir.
No opening balance. Out of 30 invoices, which represented 6,50,000, 6 invoice worth 1,50,000 were e-invoice, but invoice reference number was not available. That means on 1,50,000, I cannot claim the credit. Only on the balance, I will be able to claim the credit. However, all the invoices were duly reflected in 2B for the month of April, for the month of January. Subject to the information given above, conditions necessary for availing ITC have been complied. Please find out the tax liability which is required to discharge by cash. Brief notes for treatment given for each item should form part of notes. Even if they don't write this, you have to give note. Why you have given treatment of addition, why you have given treatment of subtraction, everything you will have to give. Okay. So we will skip all this. You can see here, car rental. What does it say? Tax on renting of motor vehicle wherein cost is a consideration provided by is liable to tax under RCM. That is what they have done. Okay, so they are saying it is RCM, but they have not paid the tax because that 60 days time of supply has not been is not over. Time of supply comes into picture on the day when you make the payment or 60 days from the date of invoice, whichever is earlier. So they have not paid the tax considering that 60 days are not over. However, even if I would have paid the tax under RCM, it is a block credit. So they have assumed RCM is applicable, but because it is a block credit and because time of supply has not come, under ITC, I will not pay anything. Clear, no? Okay. Next. Last question, very interesting. Charm Limited, registered under GST in the state of Jharkhand, manufactures cosmetic products and appointed Mr. Handsome of Mumbai, who is registered under GST in the state of Maharashtra. So from Jharkhand principal to an agent in Maharashtra. As the Dell creditor agent to sell their products, being a Dell creditor agent, he agrees to raise the invoice in his own name and also guarantees for a realization of payments from customer. Classic case of Schedule 1. So when principal sends the goods to agent, liable to tax. When agent sells the goods to the customer, that is liable to tax. When agent extends the credit period, the interest will also be liable to tax. When agent raises commission invoice on the principal, that will also be liable to tax. Okay. In order to realize the payments from the customer on time, he extends short-term transaction-based loans to them and charges interest for the same. Mr. Handsome provides the following information. Outward supply, goods sold by Mr. Handsome in his capacity as a DCA, 2,80,000. Taxable?
Yes.
Because he is acting as an agent under Schedule 1. Interest earned from the above customer for short-term credit facility under Section 15, subsection 2 to be added. So 20,000 to be added. Commission bill raised on Charm Limited in respect of DCA services, that will be an interstate supply, 30,000 on that 18%. Inward supplies, interstate supply of goods received from Charm Limited, no consideration was paid, value under Section 15, 2 lakh. See, when it is a deemed supply, I am not required to make the payment. Whatever value he charges, I will be able to claim input tax credit of the same. Correct? Next, received training in marketing and distribution from Charm Limited as per DC agreement free of cost. Company charges 75,000 for such training when it provides the same to others. Here the point is, if Charm Limited raises the invoice, I am entitled to input tax credit. Now, the agent and principal are related to each other. So that means it becomes Schedule 1 transaction. That means on that 75,000 rupees, the company is required to charge GST, and because they are charging GST, I will be entitled to claim the input tax rate. Clear? You are required to assume brief notes or should form part of. Okay, done. Right? So this is how you can expect the questions in the examination. There'll be one or two adjustments difficult to decrypt, but otherwise it will be more or less what we have discussed. See, few exemptions are going to come which is going to be difficult or which is going to be complicated. Don't get tense because of that one or two adjustments. Focus on those 8 adjustments which you know. Correct? And the first one, guess. That's all. First, then second, the first two. Right? Okay. Please read. There is no shortcut to reading. Okay. Don't get worked up. Don't get tensed. Please be calm. Don't think that I set aside 10 days for GST and I am not able to finish it even on 11th day. If you are not finishing on the 11th day, that means you are normal. If you are able to finish the 10 days topic in 9 days, that means you are abnormal. Okay, so be normal only, don't be abnormal. Okay, if you have read something but you are not able to remember, no worries. At the time of exam, before exam, please revise. Okay, and don't think that, oh, don't in between the exam I have one day. No, I will revise during that day. Don't revise anything which you have not read. After your exam schedule, the reading, there has to be 10 days extra for revision. That time you are actually revising. Between those one day, you are only praying the God that whatever you have read, only that comes. And in between that tension, if you are able to read anything, great. You will, trust me, after 4 exams, you will not be in the mindset to read. You will think, let it pass. However it happens, I just want to get over this. That will be your feeling. Okay, it is all a mind game. It's all about what is there in your head, how strong you are. So be strong. That's all. And sit there for those exam days, for those 3 hours, whether you know, whether you don't know, just sit there. Okay, because it will cost you 1 year. You are attending classes for 6 months. There is an exam leave for 3 to 4 months. That is the time invested by you. Okay, don't let it go in vain. Sit there even if you don't understand anything. Just scribble and come. There'll be one paper where you will get more than 70. There'll be one paper where you will get 40. Average out, you will get good marks. I am praying that everybody gets more than 70. But just in case that bad day is there, don't worry. Average will play a good role. Okay, use that to your advantage. Wherever you are strong, aim for 80, 90. Wherever you are weak, aim for 60. You will land up at 40. Present value, no? Right? So don't bother too much. Whatever you have read, at least that you focus and finish. I'll give you an example, okay? There is this paper in CA final called MAFA or SFM. It is called as SFM. Okay, we used to call it as Mafia only because it was the most dangerous paper. Okay, so I happened to attend crash course of one of the faculties. I attended only 2 classes of this. Okay, 2 full days of classes. Okay, in caps, when that classes happened, unfortunately I was on a travel because of my work, and so I could not attend SFM classes, and I was regretting it. So I did not attend any class at all. But those 2 days of crash course, and I found that faculty to be so positive and so interesting, I could not attend his class. I did not have that much amount of time. Okay, because next to next attempt I had to write. CA final, we have 1 year time before we finish the reading. So one of my friend had attended the classes. So I took all her notes and I read the entire SFM through her notes only. Okay, without attending the classes. So there were 2 topics, derivatives and IFM, which is the most difficult topics even now. Okay, I was able to crack each and every question. Okay, I was not so confident in income tax and GST or service tax at that point of time. That much confident I was about MAFA, right? But when I started revising, I could not understand anything about derivatives. I don't know what happened. I could not understand, and that's when an emotional, decision had to be taken. I had to let go because I was not able to finish MAFA. Sure enough, there were a lot of questions on derivatives which were asked, but IFM also was asked and other topics were also asked. I did well in other topics. Derivatives I did not get. But still out of 100, I got 70. I know that marks even now because that was the highest I scored in CA final in all the papers put together. So even if you let go of some topics, you still can get good marks. Okay. Income tax, I did not have any practical experience of income tax because I did my articleship also in indirect taxes only, which was service tax and excise. My friends could tell income tax sections like this, due dates, section 142, section 143, within 1 year, within 2 years. I did not have any idea at all. For me, at section 32, which was depreciation, over. At section 37, general deduction, over. My knowledge about income tax stopped there only, where Shetty sir stopped. Okay. So I could read only four heads of income, and the fifth head of income did not get into my head at all. Capital gains. I don't know what happened. Whatever I knew, I wrote and came. I got 60. Sufficient, no. See, it's not that I'm showing off my marks. That I'm anyways doing. I am trying to say, whatever you know, if you stick to that also, no, you don't have to lose your heart. That you finish and come no properly. That's what I'm trying to tell. Okay, some of the stories are mine, some of them are copied. Don't worry. Okay, but the point is that whatever you know, at least that you finish and come. I can give you hundreds of examples from my own observation. Okay, so I was writing my company secretary exam. Okay, so May my CA final got over, and June we had to write company secretary CA final exam, CS final exam. I had not prepared, but being a North Indian Marwadi, now I have paid the money for exam. How will I leave? Why should I pay exam money again? My senior said, we will not give you holiday, only exam days will give you. Okay, come what may, I have paid my exam fees, I have to vasulify that, right? All the papers I studied because almost everything was common, but SEBI was the most difficult topic in CA final, and company secretary 100 marks paper on SEBI. Okay, but I loved constitution. Okay, which was the first paper, general law in company secretary. Now 100 marks paper is given, I know only 25 marks. 75 marks, no idea only what is there. Okay, so now there was one question on Minsria, insider trading. Insider trading, the penalty was the amount which you earn into 2 or 25 crores is the penalty. Because the amount was so high, I remember that. Okay, but the concept was mens rea. Mens rea means guilty mind. In constitution, that was a topic which I had read properly. Okay, now 2 hours left, nothing to do. For 1 hour, I have written only full discussion on mens rea for 5 pages. I got exact 40 incident. Exact 40. Sufficient. That was only required. See, unless you get the first rank, whether it is 40 marks or 50 marks or 60 marks, does not make a difference. The happiest person after results will be the person who got the first rank and the person who got exact set off. Anybody in between will be crying only. The person who gets the second rank will cry the highest. Why did I watch that match that day and lose 1 mark? Correct, no? Right? So if you are not first rank, if you are not set off, how does it matter? It is 40, 45, 50, 60. Correct, no? As long as we are balancing. Correct? All right. That's all I had. I hope that whatever time you spent out of your precious time now, which is 3 hours into 2, 6 hours movie, okay, was a little bit helpful to you, because all the work you have to do. I am not required to do anything, right? All the hard work you are required to do. My only role was to just push you a little. I hope I have done that. Wish you all the very best for your examination and hope to see you very soon once the results are announced. Right? Thank you very much, everyone. I will see you very soon. Bye-bye.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you
Bye.
so much, sir. Bye, sir.
Bye, sir.
Any doubts, I will just drop my email ID. It is mailhanish@gmail.com. If you have any doubts, please feel free to ask. I will definitely reply to that. If it is a complicated question, send me your phone number also, so I can call you. I generally don't give my phone number because I will get messages. What messages? Red, blue, black, yellow, white. Choose your color and tell you my character. I don't require to. Right? You just send an email, and if your phone number is there, either I will reply by email or I will call. Clear? Okay. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much, sir. Bye, sir.
Bye, sir.
Okay, sir. Bye.
Right, sir.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye, sir.
Sir.